Chris Avalon Unfiltered, bitch.
Hey y'all, welcome and happy Monday. It's your boy Chris Avalon, and welcome to a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered, a show where we basically talk about all things going on in pop culture and hot topics. So that's a show for you. Definitely stick around because we have a lot of tea to spill today, including we got to talk about this James Gunn, Craig Gillespie beef that was going on behind the scenes on why Supergirl became the mess that it was and how it underperformed. It just crossed over over $100 million. So we're getting into that story. Plus, there was another article I came across over on Comic Book Movie talking about how James Gunn is destroying the DCU and why he keeps focusing on these C-level uh characters and trying to make them sort of fit in this A-list type of situation, and why that idea is not working. Plus, there is a YA novel being turned into a movie that's getting, I don't know, if I think from what I heard from CinemaCon, it didn't go over well, but the author of a book by the name of Children of Blood and Bone says that she is not going to be promoting or watching the film, and went in on Amanda Sternberg and a bunch of other people that was a part of the film. So we'll get into that and why she said that. Amanda Sternberg was the girl that her performance as Rue in the Hunger Games inspired her to create this book series, and now she's beefing with the girl that she had in mind. So we'll get into that. Plus, we got some great news regarding Obsession. It has surpassed $400 million globally in a certain documentary that it has surpassed. So we'll get into that. Danny McBride is giving us inside tea behind his G.I. Joe reboot that he wrote the script for. We got to talk about Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. You know, I don't give a fuck about the wedding. However, where it happened is where the situation comes in, because people who was working the event ended up getting fired. So we'll talk about that. Plus, we got to talk about this article floating around about Madonna going in on her ex-husband, Sean Penn. We also have to talk about the Australian Prime Minister, who basically said some derogatory sexual things about Kylie Minogue in a podcast, and now he's apologizing for his actions. We got to talk about Mario Lopez out here trying to salvage what's left of his D-minus list career because he's trying to disassociate himself from Trump, saying, "I'm not a Trump supporter. I'm not political." Yeah, okay. We got receipts on that. Plus, speaking of beefs and things, we got to talk about Drag Race, that dry ass last challenge that they had. It was like, y'all trying to do Drag Queen Story Hour and trying to do it in a form of a TV show, and it was just a mess. We also got to talk about that drama going on between Akira C. Davenport and Silky Nutmeg Ganache. So we're gonna get into that. Plus, Suzie Toot is throwing shade at Ron DeSantis. To my girl, live your gay life and come out the closet. So we're gonna talk about that. And I came across this clip of a podcast on Instagram, and it intrigued me to bring this up on the show. Now, this is a question I think we always debate within the homosexual community, but should straight people party in gay establishments, particularly gay clubs and bars and things? So we'll get into that topic and a whole lot more. So before we get to those topics, if you could please do me a solid and hit that like button. If you are new to the channel, hit the subscribe, smash the notification bell, hype it, do all the things that can help push this show out there in this good old internet verse, if that's what we want to call it. So yeah, all of that. And then some. Let me hit my comment situation because I be forgetting, child, to hit that. Angela Elliott is in the building. Say hello. Onyx says, "Hey y'all. My Confession 2 vinyl is coming today. Hello, Sailor Mermaid. You know what? Let me check. Because I gotta check my email and see if I don't think it's been delivered yet, but I'm checking to see if they dropped it off yet. But I haven't gotten it. If it don't come today, it definitely coming tomorrow. But it said it was coming. So, um, yeah, I'm still checking because I got it at 6:39 this morning. So a shipment from order blah 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 is out for delivery. So who knows? I might come in late. Now I'm just checking because I got my monthly stats, my website. which is good news. But anyway, that's not what we're here for. We checking stats and things. But I'll definitely be keeping an eye out throughout the day. Hold on, because I got to turn. I always forget that when you do a show and you're under all these, and I got to make sure my damn Grogu doesn't fall. Yeah, I got two Grogu's, yeah. One I got, I believe, where did I get the first? Oh, I got it from when I went to the View. They was giving them away, like the Christmas stuff. I was like, oh, these other toys I don't want, but I'll keep the Grogu. So, I make sure that didn't fall because I was like, oh, I got to turn this fan on because you know what people don't realize when you do a show and you got all these lights coming on at you, it gets hot, and I can't be out here sweating on camera. Happy Monday. I think it's okay for straight people to be in gay clubs if they're not homophobic or try to start fights. Well, yeah, we'll definitely get into that. The Confession to instrumentals. Yeah, I was thinking about people are like Sienna, but according to the UK, her sales 12K. Who's Sienna? I heard it's about to go. The Confessions 2 album is going to go #1 in France. Then again, in America, I'm not surprised if it doesn't because, please, Americans lack in the taste department. They don't really appreciate shit until later on in life, or if it's trending or if it's hot, that's when y'all jump on bandwagons. But you know, the Europeans, they always appreciate good music. Yo, why did I think you said Granny Nom? I could definitely see Confessions 2 getting a Grammy nomination. I hope Slater gets a Grammy nomination too. It'd be interesting to see like what gets the nominations, but definitely Confessions 2 deserves to be in the conversation. Because I don't know, this might be blasphemous to say, but after 3 days, I'm gonna say that Confessions 2 is better than the first one. I like the second one better than the first one. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's good songs on there, but it's just I feel like the Confessions title and everything that why she named it that, it fits this new album. And it just makes sense because she's really like using like the term confessions works more on this record than the first one. I don't feel like she was really confessing on that. It was like confessions on the dance floor. It was like you have your dance songs or whatever, and then she would have those moments of being vulnerable and stuff. But I feel like this is her most personal album to date, in my opinion. I mean, and yes, Madonna has gotten personal in the past. She has dabbled into giving us a glimpse inside of her personal life and stuff. But this album, it felt like, damn, bitch. Especially that damn song Betrayal. I'm still gagging over that one. Yeah, y'all gotta be out your goddamn mind if she don't get nominated for this album because this definitely is like it feels like a fully realized record. Like I feel like if Madonna decided this is gonna be my final album, I think the fandom, while we be upset because we want more music, we'd be like, this is a great way to go out and end your legacy. Hmm. Now she admits the Live Nation deal was a good idea, but it forced her to put music out just to tour. And during MDNA, you can tell she didn't want to put. Yeah, that there was a whole thing that was on Twitter where she did admit or whatever that she wasn't happy with the whole writing camp thing, and you could definitely tell that there was no writing camp on this new album. But MDNA was ass. I saw somebody posted, "If you don't love me at my worst albums, then you don't deserve her at Confessions 2." And I was like, child, please. First of all, Madonna's never really, in my opinion, had a bad album. She had records cohesively put together. I was like, this is not your best work. But there's some good stuff in there that we could find it. It's not like, oh my God, this album is just like, what was you thinking? It's not, I've never been at a point where I would listen to a Madonna record and be like, okay, 5 songs in, this is trash. I'm not putting this, I'm not listening to this. That album was straight up ass, and you can quote me on that. I was like, I did not like the album at all. Now, don't get me wrong, there's some good songs on there. I'm Addicted. What else? Girl Gone Wild, that was a good song. I hated that birthday song track. Don't even get me started on "Give Me All Your Lovin'." I don't know. I mean, I was gonna say I don't know what she was thinking with that, but I do. Super Bowl, that whole thing, cheerleader is supposed to have that kind of vibe. The song was trash though. Even the rappers that was on it, both of them. Well, somebody tell Consequence of Sound that, because their head seems to be so far up that album's ass, and decided to talk about there's nothing of substance on this record. I'm like, well, you need to clean them cobwebs out your ears because there's a lot of stuff she's saying on this record. You probably just so caught up in the beats and everything that you wasn't paying attention. It never felt like a real Madonna album because, like I said, I heard demos of a lot of songs from other singers. Well, that was where the writing camp came in. Yeah. But I was watching the two girls, what's her name, Brenda and the other one, where they was talking about. She said this is not. She's not going as bad as gangbang or. Remember when she was talking? Who was she talking about? I think either she was talking about the Sean Penn track or she was talking about the one with her stepmother Joan. And I was like, yeah, gangbang. She went in on Guy Ritchie. So I'm like, which song is the worst? On when she went on her exes? Uh, What's the song that she did with Sean Penn? We're gonna talk about it later. You know what? We're gonna save it for when we get to that point. I'm gonna ask that question again later. I don't want to, Fagda, not Fagda or Fadga. Oh, you said Fadga. I don't know why I read that as Fagda. What? That's some bullshit. First of all, the whole Andrew Watts circuit thing. Okay, first of all, when the songs that she worked on with them, I didn't even know that which songs that I still couldn't tell you which songs they worked on unless I read the liner notes. But to be honest, what Andrew Watt and Circuit did with her, it feels like an Andrew Watt Circuit situation. Like when you listen to Circuit, you know his production. I mean, Ava Max. But then when you listen to it on this, it's like, okay, so yeah, she had Andrew Watt and Circuit come in, just like she had other producers and stuff and I mean, not writers, but other producers, people that she collaborated with on this record as well. But Stuart Price is the one that was the architect that brought it all together. So at the end of the day, it is a Madonna Stuart Price collab, but other people came in to add a little, to beef it up a little bit. So when you sit up there and try to, oh, she copying over so and so because they work with them, there's a lot of people who work with Andrew Watt and Circuit. What the fuck you talking about? So you think only one producer is supposed to work with one artist for the rest of their life? What if that artist takes forever to come out with new music? So that producer got to sit and wait for this bitch or male or female, to come out with new stuff so they could work with them, so they could make you feel like I just hate when people talk because it's like you know nothing about being a creator or an artist. So that's what just irritates me about. Oh, y'all just want to find something to have Gaga be the standout and Madonna be the copycat. Y'all just want that moment so bad. What happened with Vivations and her designer? I mean, then again, that's old news. What happened with that? That the designer wasn't showing up, and Vivacious had to create her own stuff. Mhm, mhm. Not his shitty car, child. I mean, but yeah, she did mention the Shelby Cobra, and it was funny when I was watching a reaction video. She was like, "Oh wait, is this about Sean Penn?" I was like, "Uh-huh." But anyway, let me hit the banner. We'll get more into Madonna talk as we progress through the show. Because I see y'all still living for, the album and still it's still on people's radar and all the other stuff. So we'll get into those comments as the show progresses. But in the meantime, let's get into our first topic. And let's talk about this drama going on between James Gunn and Craig Gillespie. So we did talk about for a while that after Supergirl came out, the overall situation about it, it felt disjointed. It felt like, and Anna Nagara, which was weird, why you even had a screenwriter work on a movie that said she didn't even understand the ending of the graphic novel or this other stuff. So she's out here focusing on writing a script for a graphic novel that is based on that she doesn't really get. But somehow y'all had on board. And there was somebody else as we go through the story, once I get to it, that came in and spiced up the script a bit. I mean, you really couldn't tell. But or maybe they spice up the good parts of the script. And they even said the third act, which finally around the third act, we got to see some of the fight sequences and all this other stuff. But overall, I was disappointed in the action scenes. You couldn't really see anything based on the color palette. It was just too dark at parts. Also, the extreme close-ups, like, can we see like the fights breaking out? We've been so spoiled with like John Wick and most recently The Furious on seeing fight choreography and them not doing the cutaways or trying to find ways to get around not us seeing stuff. And we want to see the action sequence. We want to be in the midst of it. So y'all got to figure out how to direct that stuff better. But anyway, there was an article from the Hollywood Reporter that came out that is basically exposing some alleged tension that have been going on behind the scenes of Supergirl. And I was like, we definitely got to talk about this on here because we love talking about drama. So, um, reports about the making of Supergirl suggest the movie went through a difficult post-production process with creative disagreements between DC Studios and director Craig Gillespie, reportedly leaning to multiple versions of the film being tested before its theatrical release. So, like I said before, the Hollywood Reporter dropped a bombshell piece about the second DC Studios movie. The trailers, as you know, underwhelmed because when I saw the trailers in theaters, I was just like, all right, whatever. And Millie Alcock, they've been getting it on her, saying that she was miscast. She also made comments about Christian dads and Cara Zor-El's sexuality, excuse me, which people had a problem with. But I thought y'all liked when two women allegedly get together. Now all of a sudden everybody's conservative and y'all don't like girl on girl action. When did that happen? Or unless y'all just trying to put that out there in the universe, but behind the scenes, that's what y'all be beating y'all meat to. Because if we need to check y'all what do you call it? Your computer history. And it says what y'all be into. I'm sure we'd all be out here gagging. So it says that the problems that led to Supergirl being one of the biggest ever superhero movie box office flops started long before, all the stuff about the trailers and Millie Alcock and what she's been saying on red carpets and in interviews. So, DC Studios co-CEO James Gunn and filmmaker Craig Gillespie had creative differences over the direction of the movie, which never found its footing in the post-production process, as one insider put it. They were not creatively aligned, is the polite way of describing it. Look at y'all trying to be polite up in Hollywood. Usually y'all be cutthroat. So now, while other insiders dispute this and suggest the friction was healthy, it seems the realization that something wasn't working came as far back as May to 2025. Now, this was after filming Wrapped. Now, both DC Studios and Gillespie realized something was wrong, and test screenings results that December weren't. I mean, that December. Wait, what? And test screening results, I think that is basically what they meant to write was, and test screening results reveal that December, I guess when they showed it back in December, people weren't really responding to it. I gotta come in here and do a whole research because that last sentence, I'm like, okay, did you not proofread that before you hit send? But anyway, to get to the point, test screening results, they showed it in December 2025, and people really weren't feeling what they were seeing. So they said that it's from a scale out of 100 points, Supergirl never escaped the 60s. With that, Gunn turned to writer Jeremy Slater, who had a hand in writing scripts for Moon Knight and Mortal Kombat, yeah. Who has previously worked on the now scrapped The Authority movie. While screenwriter Anna Noguera remained involved, it sounds like he wrote or at least helped with scenes for 9 days of reshoots. However, as post-production continued, other issues arose, including the music. So at one point in the film, in the final battle, they actually wanted to use Girls Just Want to Have Fun by Cyndi Lauper, and I'm like, no, that would not have worked unless y'all were going to come up with some kind of remix. But no, Girls Just Want to Have Fun in a fight. No, that's too corny to me. And then they decided on Jimmy Eat World's The Middle, which I didn't even like the fact that they used that song. And people were not really feeling that. And they said that The Middle was chosen by Gunn, not Gillespie. Two editors also worked on Supergirl, Gillespie's longtime collaborator, Tatiana S. Regal, who worked on Cruella, because that was another film that Gillespie worked on. And Gunn had Fred Raskin, who was behind Peacemaker, which y'all already know I hated season 2, especially that. Well, I didn't even finish it. That's how disappointed I was in season 2. So he had Fred Raskin, who worked on Peacemaker, work on it. Now, test screening scores slowly improved, reached the low 70s, but then DC Studios decided to force a bake-off by creating two competing cuts, Gillespie's and the studios, saying it's unclear that major differences emerged. What major differences emerged? But one source says Gillespie's version was 11 minutes longer and featured more of the villain, Prim, played by Matthias Schoenertz. Now, when two competing versions tested, the score surprisingly dropped significantly, although the studio inched out ahead of Gillespie's by only 2 points, according to sources. So it doesn't matter how which way they slice it, dice it, and cut it. Maybe it's just this whole story of what they composited from Woman of Tomorrow, which everybody who's read Woman of Tomorrow says how great the graphic novel is. But what they decided to adapt into a film format, people wasn't feeling either one. Slightly maybe the studios, but for them, I mean, and to be honest, I think we needed more Krem. Krem just felt like a random dude that was just going around being a colonizer. That's basically what it was given. Or, they were talking about trafficking girls, which, in my opinion, trafficking girls or children or whatever the case was, worked much better in. It was utilized much better in the Furious. I don't know if y'all seen that movie yet. It's amazing, but they utilized that in there. And most recently, I saw over the weekend because they put it on MGM Plus. Protector with Mila Jovovich. I was pleasantly surprised on how much I enjoyed that movie, especially the twist. So when I was seeing that film, I was like, yeah, using the whole thing about trafficking girls and this, that, and the other. I mean, yeah, there was issues with the script or whatever, but the way that the story was working out and how they really went there with the whole thing, I feel like if you're going to take on such heavy subject matter as they took on in this film, y'all can't be scared to really go there with the stuff. You're going to talk about child trafficking, if you're going to be talking about things that women deal with or go through, whatever the case is, then y'all really need to not be afraid to dive into those topics if you're going to make it a heavy topic thing. Or maybe what the problem was, it was too heavy of a topic for them to even get through in Supergirl. I was actually thinking what they should have did with Supergirl, because I understand like James Gunn is trying to do like this whole C-list thing and trying to make them sort of like turn these C-list stars or C-list superheroes into like A-list superheroes, kind of like what he felt he did with Guardians of the Galaxy. But that was different. The MCU, we at least, we had time, excuse me, we had time for them to get into all these other characters like Captain America and Iron Man and Spider-Man and all these different A-list characters from the MCU before we got to the B level or C level superheroes like the Guardians of the Galaxy, which I know nothing about. But when we saw the movie, we liked being with these characters because it was just something that we were ready for, because the MCU took the time to develop all these other characters and Thor and all this other stuff. So they took the time to develop these characters before we can get to these little left of center, off kilter superheroes. And so that's what I pretty much enjoyed about the MCU. DC, you can't start out the gate like that because the fandom is still a little skeptical of what happened with the Snyderverse. So people aren't really ready to jump on board and see what you got going on yet. Like you have your hardcore gunslingers, as I like to call them. The fandom. I don't know if they have a name yet, but I'm calling them the gunslingers. And then you have the people that are still like mad because we're not getting the Snyderverse anymore. So those people are a little skeptical. And I do think that if something isn't working, you can call out people on their stuff and try to make it better. And so far, I was like, with some of the stuff going on, while Superman was enjoyable and I was entertained by it, I wasn't overly enthused with the whole direction and tone and the comic booky type of colorful scheme that they were going with that movie. I'm still not 110% on board. Maybe I'll be 110% on board when we get Mana tomorrow next year. But so far, I was like, it was all right. It's not like, oh my god, it was the greatest Superman movie I've ever seen. That I'm gonna have to put on Man of Steel because I just love Man of Steel. Just everything about the music, the tone of it, Henry Cavill, and just everything about that freaking movie. I just absolutely love, and how we took time to build that universe. They didn't take time to build this world with Kara Zor-El. Why was she feeling this whole? Where was that sense of cynicism came from? Where she goes, my cousin sees the beauty in people, and I see the truth. And it's like, well, what truth? Like, we never really explored what made her not be 110% on board with wanting to help or save humanity. We got little bits and pieces of she went to Earth, she met her cousin, she stayed with him a moment, then all of a sudden she's a nomad in space. So I mean, they put those little pieces in. Those are probably like reshoots, but we never got the sense of why we don't why should we feel the way we feel for Kara Zor-El? They just never built that up. And I feel like if what maybe would have been a better thing for this franchise is if they would have went and made Supergirl into a TV series, similar to the Lanterns. I think maybe if Supergirl was a 10 episode series on HBO Max, you can dive into, okay, once Clark left the like Krypton and everything happened and how some of the Kryptonians stayed behind, including Kara, her mother was pregnant with her at the time, years later, and how they put this dome over what was left of Krypton, so that way Kara's parents stayed and all that other stuff. If they would have built up that whole world and gave us the backstory and showed like Kara going to Earth and what that was like, and had little moments of you could have had David Corn Sweat just come in for certain scenes, but for the most part, it's her movie or her show, and then seeing her going off and doing little things. You can make a 10 episode thing, $100 million 10 episode show, and that would have worked. And I think people would have been on board. And then you could incorporate her so many ways into the movies and down the road. But they didn't do that. You thought you could just put this girl up in here who really hasn't proven herself. The only IP or the connection we have with Supergirl being on the big screen was the one that came out in the 80s with Helen Slater and freaking what's her name? Faye Dunaway. That's the only connection that people have. And for the most part, this new generation don't know nothing about it. And I think speaking of the new generation didn't care. A lot of the younger generation kids, they don't care about all these superhero things like we do. They're into Obsession, which we're going to get into later on in the show. They're into back rooms. They're into, a lot of these DIY, relatable, grounded type of programming. They don't care about all this razzle dazzle special effects, whatever. And also, I feel like what y'all failed to do with this movie, I didn't even finish with the article, but I got a whole lot to say. um, what I think also was an issue, you didn't market this to women. Because I understand, like 9 times out of 10, men are the ones who are mostly going to the movies to see superhero films. And when I went to go see Supergirl in theaters, it was predominantly men in there. I think it was probably maybe one or maybe two girls in there. But for the most part, most men, most of the guys that was in the theater watching this film were guys. So you didn't market it to women. You didn't make it feel like women could be included, similar to like The Devil Wears Prada too. You already know The Devil Wears Prada, which is available. You can watch it at home now. Women and the homosexuals was the ones that was going to see this movie. Or if it was a date night, the girls would bring their boyfriends along. And with Wonder Woman, with Gal Gadot, you had women showing up for that because people love Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman is a well-known IP. And Gal pretty much looked like Wonder Woman. So with all of that, people were gonna go, that was what it had going for it. Plus, Patty Jenkins directed it. I think a woman wrote the script, I'm not sure. But it just women felt like this was a movie made for them to show up to. Whereas I don't know if they felt that with Supergirl and her coming across as this sort of like this self-deprecating girl with a chip on her shoulder. I just think that that whole tone rubbed people the wrong way. Plus, also, I think what hurt it, the way she was introduced in Superman, I hated that scene. Her stumbling in like a freaking drunk, waiting, like trying to take crypto back home with her. I was like, really? This is how y'all introduce her into the franchise? But James Gunn, thinks that was what he wanted, and this is what is happening. Your this approach that you have is not making money, and I'm wondering if this spiral continues. Is Warner Brothers going to continue to allow these people to do what they're doing with this franchise? Because it seemed like your box office returns are even worse than what the Snyderverse was delivering. They also went on to say that Craig Gillespie had to advocate for anything he wanted in the movie, with the implication that the version of Supergirl we saw in theaters was not the one he wanted. While it's easy to blame Gunn for a bad edit, it's worth noting that things clearly went wrong in the scripting stage, which means take Anna Nagara off of script writing duties. Because right now, she is supposed to be writing a Wonder Woman script. And speaking of Wonder Woman, if we want Wonder Woman on the big screen and we want to see Adria Arjona, that's my choice. I think many of people's, to be playing Wonder Woman, then we need somebody who really knows what they're doing and knows how to write a script and has an idea what to put in this thing, to have her come in and to give us a good movie. Because if Anna Nagara wrote this script and y'all sitting here ripping this shit apart, I can only imagine what she's going to be doing with Wonder Woman, and we don't want that to be tainting that franchise, because we definitely want a good Wonder Woman movie, which we did get with the first one. 1984 is straight up ass. We don't acknowledge that film. However, with this one, at least we'll get a Wonder Woman that can act, who actually has like exotic Themyscira as features, and I believe that Adria Arjona embodies that. I know people are talking about, well, she's not tall enough. Well, who gives a shit? First of all, you standing next to her when they're filming this movie, or when we go watch the movie, she'll look tall on camera. Everybody looks ginormous. Okay, Tom Cruise is 5'7". He looked tall on camera, usually. So it shouldn't matter about the height. Well, I'm not buying that she could do the stuff that she does. I'm like, she's a god. Gods have powers. Gods have super strength. Gods are invincible. They could do all kinds of crazy stuff. Same thing like people say, oh, I didn't believe Billie Alcott could do all the stuff that she was doing in Supergirl. She's from fucking Krypton. Are y'all serious? Like, y'all literally trying to put literal, real logic on superhero stuff? Tomorrow she wasn't believable because nobody would think she'd be able to pull the physical stuff off. So you think somebody actually got so women out here or men got superhuman strength, come from another planet and can just throw people across the room? That's not believable because it's based on a comic book. Make that make sense. So when people try to put logic in something because you want to hide, you don't want to admit that you're just being a misogynist prick, I have a problem with that as well. So they also were saying, like, yeah, they didn't like the whole idea about turning a story about not taking revenge into a Mad Max style revenge flick. So that's what it was too. That she basically had, yeah, it definitely came off very Mad Max esque, especially when with Krim's look, because he looked like a Mad Max villain. And also, they said that yeah, she's attached not only to Wonder Woman, but there's a Teen Titans reboot, or I don't know if it's a movie or a TV show that's supposed to be coming out. So yeah, and also I should remind y'all, since we was talking about the Snyderverse, this isn't the first time the DC EU, I should say, tested in the 60s. Batgirl tested in the 60s. You know, that was a tax writer. We never got to see that film. Although I have been seeing little things here and there leaking online. And Shazam! Fury of the Gods, which was not a good movie, also tested in the 60s. And also, we should talk about the fact that, you know what, he's continuing this C-list thing because we're supposed to be, well, in addition to Clayface I'm not that upset about because it's a smaller budgeted film, it's a horror film, and it's coming out in October. So I think Clayface will have things going for it. And even if nobody's familiar or wants to get caught up in DC comic, whatever, I do think the way they've been promoting it and how it looks and everything, it's a standalone type of movie and it fits within that horror thing. I think it'll do well because of that. And I think like so far they are marketing it correctly based off of what we've seen. But we should also talk about the fact that we got the Batman Part 2 coming out, which they're currently filming. I can't wait for that. Man of Tomorrow is currently filming. So I'm curious to see what's gonna happen with that. And then we also have there was something else. There's a TV series based on Jimmy Olsen, a Superman spinoff focusing on Jimmy Olsen, played by Skylar Gisondo, and I thought he was basically the best part of Superman. He was a standout in that, so they're gonna, and they said it's a comedic take on with a mockumentary series DC Crime that will shoot in the fall, and then they also have a series coming out based on Mr. Terrific, um, who was played by Eddie Gathecki, and they said that's an active development with Alan Heinberg, who was behind the Sandman writing the pilot. So hopefully all that works out. But I do feel like what needs to happen is that James Gunn and them need to focus on getting your A-list characters out, your starters. We're gonna talk sports. Get your starters out in the forefront. Then once you establish your starters, Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Flash, those type of characters, then you could Aquaman, then you could focus on your B list, your C list, like the Supergirls and maybe a series on fucking Jimmy Olsen, but we'll see how that works out. But before we get up off this, there was another topic. I mean, not another topic, but another story I came across, which was on Comic Book Movie that I thought was really good. Speaking, before we get to that, definitely go on the Hollywood Reporter and check out that article that I just read to y'all about if you want to get more in depth of the information. But a lot of people saying that from what the article, shout out to Josh Wilding, and it was talking about the problem is with this current DCU is that James Gunn's vision may not be the one DC Studios needs. Now, for all of Gunn's strengths as a filmmaker, the DC universe he's building feels like a playground for characters he personally loves rather than the franchise's audiences are crying out for. And I do agree with that. I feel like, yeah, maybe your ego, you need to kind of relinquish your ego and realize these characters that you love, just because you like them, don't necessarily mean the mass audience cares. Because you're trying to put forth characters the rest of us could give two shits about. People want a Wonder Woman movie. People want what's happening with your version of Batman. Don't get me wrong, we already know Batman Part 2 is coming. That's from Matt Reeves with Robert Pattinson, which I love the first Batman. Looking forward to the second one. But we've been hearing about the Brave and the Bold. What's going on with that? Nobody knows what's happening. We keep hearing little things here and there about alleged casting and John Campea claiming he knows who they picked or they're looking at or whatever the case is. And then nobody knows what's happening. Wonder Woman, Adria Jonah's name has been thrown around for as long as I've been, there's been talk of a Wonder Woman movie. And we don't know what's going on with that. I guess they're working on the script. What's going on with the Flash? I understand that y'all talking about, well, they just did those characters in the Snyderverse. They didn't do them justice, and those are your A-list characters, so you need to focus on those instead of focusing on these characters that you personally care about, because what you personally like doesn't mean the rest of the world is going to resonate, and it's showing in the box office receipts. I also think another thing what James Gunn needs to stop doing is answering people on social media when people ask questions or is this true or that true, and he goes with these little vague one word answers or whatever the case is that he's been doing. Stay on social media and stop fighting with people who, well, I don't know where people getting this information from, but it's not true. And then 9 times out of 10, when Andrew RPK or Jeff Snyder comes out with an alleged scoop, he goes and tries to debunk it on social media. Let people speculate. Let people feel how they feel about certain topics. And when the movie comes out, they'll be proven wrong. You getting on social media fighting with people because alleged scoop that you had within your little circle got leaked and you getting upset about it, so you being defensive, that doesn't help you in a lot of ways. That makes you come across as a bit pompous, as someone is like, oh, well, we know how to get up under his skin now. Just ignore it. Focus on what you need to be focusing on. And my thing is this also, if you're a co-CEO of the DCU, why are you directing stuff? You shouldn't even direct Superman. You shouldn't even be directing Man of Tomorrow. And then if you're a co-studio head of making comic book movies, you should be focusing on the list of films that you're going to have made and work on expanding that and hiring directors and a team of writers that understand those worlds and let them go off and do their thing. You can give your input on like this is the kind of like the overall tone or this is the world, similar to like with Kevin Feige. Kevin Feige would hire directors or people based off of things that he's seen. They're like, you know what? I think this person would be perfect for a Captain America movie. I think this person would be perfect for an Iron Man movie. I think this person would be perfect for a Shang-Chi movie. I think this director would be perfect for a Black Panther movie. And just pick these people and put them in, let them do their thing. Like, come on, come up with an idea. What development, like what ideas do you have? Whatever the case is, and then make them work it out from there. So go off and do your thing. But you just got to fit within the confines of, remember, it's still got to have that core essence of what the MCU is about. But go off and do your thing. I'm going to give you free reign to film what you need to film. But remember, it's got to fit within the overall confines of what we're doing over here in the MCU. And 9 times out of, post, everything post before we got to, post Endgame, it all worked. Post Endgame was like, yeah. But, everything before we got to Endgame, I ain't gonna say it was all perfect because there was a couple of movies in there. I was like, yeah. But for the most part, ball hit right out of the park. DCU has to develop that as well. But James Gunn seems like he come across as a control freak and wants to keep things, he wants everything structured within what he wants. And you have to realize this control freak thing is not going to work. Or maybe what it is, he's a great director, but you're not good at the whole CEO thing. So they said before The Flash arrived in theaters, Gunn infamously declared it was one of the greatest superhero movies ever made, which we all know that's bullshit. Ain't no way in hell The Flash is one of the greatest superhero movies ever made. I can name 5 movies all the time. I think I just named beforehand. Black Panther, Blade, the first one with Wesley Snipes, X2. I could also think what was it? Days of Future Past. That was a good one. Logan. You talking about Flash was better than all of those movies I just named? Shang-Chi, I know some people have an issue with it. I love the film. Um, Iron Man 2, Infinity War, and Endgame. Can I also throw in a couple of Captain Americas, Civil War, and it's a bunch. So I'm not going to sit here and just go through a whole list. But I just named quite a few that were better than the Flash. That special effects in the Flash alone was cringe, in my opinion. So they said it also suggests that Gunn's instincts don't always align with those of general audiences or other fans, and it now appears that Gunn's creative vision for Supergirl is what derailed the movie. Lest we forget, he was also responsible for the Flash's goofy George Clooney ending. Nobody is suggesting characters like Mr. Terrific, Clayface, or Jimmy Olsen don't deserve the spotlight. Well, Jimmy certainly doesn't. Comic book readers know how rich DC's catalog is, and Gunn has built much of his career making audiences care about characters nobody expected to become stars. The key difference is that he did that within a franchise that was thriving. Didn't I just say that? I literally just said that. And this is the first time reading this article. I was like, I said that because with the MCU, you did it within the confines of a franchise that was already thriving, that being the MCU. Guardians of the Galaxy arrived 6 years after Iron Man. Audiences already trusted the Marvel Studios logo and had brought um, into Tony Stark, Captain America, Thor, and Avengers before Marvel asked them to take a chance on a talking raccoon and a living tree. DC doesn't have that luxury. Instead of using Batman, Wonder Woman, and Superman as the foundation before branching out, Gunn seems determined to build every corner of the DCU simultaneously. That means projects centered on characters many lifelong DC fans would struggle to name are being prioritized alongside, or in some cases, ahead of the company's biggest icons. Batman still doesn't have a clear place in the DCU. Wonder Woman hasn't even been cast. The Justice League feels years away. Yet we're getting Clayface and DC Crime, with the latter a series not even on the most devoted DC fans' wish list. It isn't 2014 anymore. Gen Z hasn't grown up treating superheroes as appointment viewing, and younger audiences are far more selective about what they watch, choosing instead gravitate towards viral hits like Backrooms and Obsession. Literally what I said. Gunn's Chapter 1 looks a lot like the MCU's Phase 4, albeit with him attempting to skip several steps. A big part of why Black Panther and Spider-Man Homecoming succeeded is because their respective leads connected with fans in Captain America Civil War. Gunn threw everything to the wall to see what would stick in Superman, and a 30-second Supergirl cameo wasn't enough to launch her franchise. Similarly, Mr. Terrific being a scene stealer doesn't automatically justify giving him a spin-off TV series. Yeah, just have him in Man of Tomorrow. By flooding the market with so many B and C list heroes, Gunn runs the risk of the A-listers no longer feeling special. If every obscure corner of the DC universe is treated with the same importance as Batman and Wonder Woman, audiences will inevitably stop seeing all the characters as must-see events, and the DCU will lose its identity completely. Creative risks aren't a bad thing, especially when so many DC stories have put lesser known characters from an front and center. Jesus Christ, there's so many misspellings up in here. However, the priority has to be getting the big guns right first, using Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, and the Justice League to launch the shared world, and allowing moviegoers to decide which supporting players deserve to graduate into leading roles. Instead, it feels like James Gunn is building a DC universe he wants to watch rather than the one general audiences are asking for. The biggest casualty from that won't be projects like Supergirl or DC Crime. It will be the DCU itself. And I do agree with that. I feel like that at the end of the day, he's gonna you're destroying this if you're gonna continue to think like this is what I want to see. Okay, well, I mean, yeah, you're gonna be the only one in the theater watching that shit then, but one person don't a box office hit make. So you can't sit and only think about yourself. And I think that's the reality of what people have to think about when it comes to Hollywood. It's not about what you want, it's about what on the global consensus what other people want. So you gotta think from that standpoint. It's not about just you and your own selfishness. So they got a lot to think about. We'll just see how all this turns out in the end. I'm hoping, they'll pull it together, but I highly doubt it. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story? I know it was a lot, but there's a lot to break down when it comes to this whole Supergirl situation. And the fact that they're saying that, yeah, the creative clashes, the test screening mess of it all, and plus the fact that some people with in that interesting article that James Gunn is ruining the DCU with his little pet passion projects that he feels passionate about and nobody else does. So whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. Yeah, I don't know why people sit and mess with a designer that is going to keep doing y'all dirty. And the one thing I hate about it too, I don't know if they did this, but what I don't like that a lot of these people do with designers is I ain't gonna mention their name. No, name them. In the words of Sutton Strack, name them so that way people know not to fuck with that damn designer. Why would you continue to try to protect them from doing you dirty and they're gonna continue to do it to other queens? Like me, I don't give a fuck. I just be out there being like, it was this person and I even gonna show y'all a picture. Like I will ruin you. I don't care. And if you want to take me to court, we can go to court because I'll have my receipts. I'm like, yeah, and if we go to court, make sure you got my motherfucking money. Hillary, that I paid you and you didn't even give me nothing out of the whole deal. Hillary Duff signed a sponsorship deal with Bath and Body Works. Well, that sounds pretty much up her alley because she's a mom and girls like her and all that stuff. So her working with Bath and Body Works, that definitely sounds like something up her alley. Graham Plattner is rumored to be dropping out. The allegations is too well, that's stupid if he does that when we have people on the other side that have done way worse and are winning shit. So why would you even want to drop out? Always another election. Look, and what is he going to clear? Because at the end of the day, there's always going to be somebody saying something if he clears the name and comes back. So just stick it out. I believe that James Gunn is just fulfilling his contract and then he's out. Or maybe, yeah, it could be that. Maybe it's that he's done, especially because, I mean, there might be a good fraud in this situation because there's been stories coming out about how Paramount and this whole deal might fall through because some stuff that's going on with money and things of that nature, and it might put them in the like in serious. I mean, I feel like they're already in debt, but even in more debt. So his whole situation, he's not really a fan of the Ellisons and what they agree on politically, because they're Trumpers, and now they're trying to buy up all of our media, and they're also Zionists. So um maybe it's that was like, I don't give a shit at this point. I'm just trying to do what I need to do and get out. But what the sad part of that is that when you do that, we're in another situation where the DCU can't get off the ground, and now they haven't figured out how to launch this franchise, and now you got to start from scratch again. I was like, how many times are they going to start from scratch? It just goes in the future what needs to happen, and I don't know if Mr. Zaslav even thought of this, but Hire people. Don't hire people because they made a hit for this studio. You got to hire people that actually know how to do an executive job and know how to bring in that whole. Yeah, I'm a big fan and passionate about comic books, and you have to really come from a global stand. Like you got to think globally. You can't think small. Meaning, we want to take these small characters and we want to put them in this big world. It's like we don't care. I blame Gunn because he's doing too many things, including that was like, why are you directing? You need to start hiring people who can direct. But he doesn't. To me, it just seems like you don't trust the people that you have hired to do the job that needs to be done. Plus, James Gunn redoing DC. Is he doing right then before? Lord, if this is the start, I'm not feeling it at all because I'm scared what they will do for Wonder Woman. But yeah, not geared towards women. You are right. Clayface should do well. Lord, another Batman 10,000. Look, Batman is the most popular superhero on their roster. People want Batman. I think James Gunn is going to get fired because he gave the movie deadlines and he sends the script back and such. He isn't over it. I do believe he's in over his head though. Yeah, well, you can't think from that standpoint because you have to realize this is show business and this is a studio. You're working for a studio. So you can't make movies for you as a fan because, yeah, you care, but everybody else doesn't care about these characters that you've given a platform to. So you can't be like, well, I don't care about the general public and the fan. Well, sir, you need to because if you're spending 150, $200 million on a film plus the marketing, which is probably going to be 100, 150 million, your movies have to hit at least 700, 800 to break even or close to a billion. I'm not saying they all need to make a billion, but if you're doing these big budgeted films and you're asking for a lot of money and all they're bringing is $30 million on a $150 million budget, you've got a problem. You better start caring about the public and the fans because then it's your ass. Now, speaking of not caring, let's get into this story because apparently the author of Children and Blood and Bone says she don't care about this upcoming movie that they're making based on her book. She said that I'm not promoting it, I'm not watching it, and saying that she's been clashing with Amanda Sternberg, who y'all know was in Acolyte, right? Oh my god, that show was terrible. She also played Rue in what did I say, the Hunger Games. Now here's the thing. I haven't really been paying attention like when it comes to YA novels being turned into movies. I haven't been paying attention to that since back in the day when I was caught up in that whole phase, which was it was Harry Potter. I ain't really get into the Twilight stuff. Still not, even though I see us all over the streaming services. But what was it? I seen all the Hunger Games, loved them. Then they came out with the Divergent series, which was not good. I don't even think they made the last. They didn't even make the last book. That's how bad that franchise was, and how the meddling of the studio and all that. There's a whole thing on YouTube. I saw a video where it was something like the rise and the fall. What went wrong with that franchise? But I did like the Maze Runner. Well, one because I love me some Dylan O'Brien. Love me some Dylan O'Brien, and that franchise. I definitely have fun with that. So even though I know some people say it diverts from the books or whatever, I mean, I don't know, I didn't read them, but I had a pretty good time with that franchise. So there was this whole craze at one point, and it seems like they're trying to bring it back around, especially because we have a prequel to Hunger Games coming out later this year, with which goes into Haymitch when he was younger, and I guess he was in the Hunger Games before he started working with, came into the new one. Woody Harrelson's not playing the character because, of course, they had to go young. So now it seems like this craze is coming back, and she's not happy with the franchise. What I was happy when I heard about it is that, oh look, we got a big black cast of actors. But if the movie is shit, you have a reason to be upset. But it was directed by Gina Prince Blythewood, who you see on the left. The one on the right is the actual author, but the one on the left is Gina Prince Blythewood. I did like her. Did she direct the Old Guard Part 2? I know she did the first one, which I actually liked. That's the Charlize Theron Immortal movie. The second one was ass, but the first one was good. So anyway, so less than 6 months after Children of Blood and Bone arrives in theaters, author Tomi Adeyemi has made it clear that she wants nothing to do with Paramount Pictures' big screen adaptation of her best-selling fantasy novel. As first reported on sffgazette.com, she replied to a fan on her Instagram story who asked why she no longer posts about the movie. It was then that Adeyemi revealed that there is a reason for her silence, though she stopped short of specifying what exactly it is. I hate when y'all do that. If y'all gonna go on social media and y'all gonna tell it, I need y'all to tell it all. So they said there's a reason I will not post anything about the adaptation of my work. Before concluding, that's all. Later, Adeyemi said, from this point on, if you want to support me, you can purchase any edition of the trilogy at a local independent children's bookstore. Perhaps more surprisingly, the author shared a screenshot of a DM conversation. Yeah, and I got all the receipts and stuff in my on my website. A DM conversation dated February 28, 2025. Now, in it, Adeyemi tells an unnamed individual, do not ever use my name in an interview or video again. Do not text me. Do not call me. The identity of the recipient is unclear, although the screenshot appears to show that actress Amanda Stenberg has been blocked, leading to speculation that it's the Acolyte star. Adeyemi also said, I have not seen the film and I will not watch it. It's been painful holding this back from you all. Making these comments even more unexpected is that Adeyemi co-wrote the screenplay alongside director Gina Prince Bythewood. Well, I want to know why wouldn't you promote the film? If you had a hand in screenwriting, if you had a hand in structuring and putting everything together, if you were very hands-on with it, what is it about this film that's got you so mad that you feel like I don't want to be a participant in this film? I want to know what it is. Is it that you saw the final product and it wasn't what you expected, or they probably went against what you had written in the script and did reshoots or rewrites or whatever behind your back and you weren't aware of? Like, we need specifics. I don't understand why people go on, I'm not promoting this and this and this and this, and you don't want to let us know what's the tea. Because we want to know. You put us in the group chat. You put up the screenshots of your conversation and telling Amanda allegedly that you don't want nothing to do with X, Y, and Z. Don't call me. Don't text me. Don't write me. Don't email me. Don't send nothing by bird or stool pigeon or just pigeon in general. So don't hit me up at all. Don't call. Don't write. Anyway, so they said the adaptation has had a long and complicated journey to the big screen. Now, before the novel was even published in 2018, Fox 2000 Pictures had secured the rights with Rick Famuyima or Famuyiwa. Okay, that was a mouthful. Attached to direct. Following Disney's acquisition of 21st Century Fox, well, now it's called Century Studios, the project moved to Lucasfilm, where Gunn was brought on to write the screenplay. However, that version of Children of Blood and Bone stalled before eventually being placed into turnaround in late 2021. Reports at the same time suggested Adeyemi had grown frustrated with Lucasfilm's lack of progress, and Paramount ultimately acquired the rights in early 2022, with Prince Bythewood joining the project as director. Production finally began in early 2025 and wrapped earlier this summer. The film features, wait, hold on, because I got pictures of the cast. The film features an impressive cast, including Cynthia Erivo, Idris Elba, Regina King, Lashana Lynch, Viola Davis, Amanda Stenberg, Damson Idris, and Thuso Mbedu as protagonist Zili Adebola. Well, I love the African names up in here. So it's got a good cast. I like everybody that they mentioned: Cynthia Erivo, Idris, Regina King, Lashana Lynch, Viola Davis. Well, Amanda Sternberg, I mean, she's hit or miss depending on the project she picks. Damson Idris, who y'all already know, I want him as T'Challa #2. I don't know who Thuso Mbedu is, but um, He's probably one of them in this photo. Now, the production wasn't without controversy. They said earlier this year, the casting of Stenberg and Mbedu sparked online debate over colorism, with some fans arguing the actresses were lighter skinned than their counterparts in Adeyemi's novels. At the time, Stenberg defended her involvement in an 8-minute TikTok video, revealing that Adeyemi had personally encouraged her to accept the role. The actress recalled the author telling her that her casting as Rue in the Hunger Games had inspired the creation of the Legacy of Orisha series. And it's hard not to wonder whether such a bold claim is why the writer was seemingly telling the actress to stop using her name. Well, look, if that was the thing where it's like, I got to defend myself and I'm sorry, but I got to throw her in the mix so y'all can get off my back, because, when it come down to anything that has to do with Black movies, Black anything, and y'all put somebody in there that y'all deem is a little lighter than you would like to see, or a character has been light skinned when maybe the description in the book they're not, y'all get on social media and start y'all discourses and start getting upset. But then she was like, well, she encouraged me to audition for this part, and how seeing my character in the Hunger Games inspired her to create this franchise. So if they know that, that is a way for the fans to get up off her back. Well, now it just seems like maybe in Adeyemi's defense, or in her mind, she's sort of like, well, now they're gonna come at me with the colorism accusations. Well, you encouraging this girl when she da 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 da, so and some people are not used to dealing with online backlash or people saying negative things or whatever the case is. You still learn to tune out the noise. I know it's easier said than done, but that could probably be it as well. But yeah, so hold on, because maybe I'll just pull up the comments of, well, the evidence, because we like receipts on this show of some of the stuff that she said. So we have this one where it says Tomi Adeyemi on TikTok saying she's separating herself from the film Adaptation, to which she goes, there is a reason I will not post anything about my adaptation of my work. That's all. From this point on, if you want to support me, blah, blah, blah. We talked about that, the whole bookstore situation, where she said, I think it's called, what's it called? Well, I don't know. The TikTok thing is blocking it off, but I'm assuming the bookstore is called Books of Wonder in NYC. And lastly, since someone asked, I have not seen the film and I will not watch it. It's been painful holding this back from you all. And I'm sorry if any of you thought I didn't care. I will always care about us more than any glitter. And then there's, I guess this is this thing from Amanda, and she puts, do not ever use my name in an interview or video again. Do not text me. Do not call me. And then, she has Tommy responded, I'm sorry, my love. I tried everything I could to make this work, and I do mean everything. I'm an Amkey. Is that one of the people that's working on the film? They said, I'm confused, Tommy. Did you co-write the script? Didn't you co-write the script and produce it? And you were so excited and happy when you visited the set in Cape Town. And on Zethu's podcast, you said it's great and we'll love it because we're all in there. So where is this coming from? And Tommy says, what I did was work for 14 years to make this a reality. All final decisions are the directors, and they always have been. If you were told they were mine, you were lied to on purpose. So maybe what it is that, yeah, you went in with your vision, you co-wrote the script, whatever the case is. Yeah, that's true. But you have to remember, at the end of the day, it's up to the director to decide how they're going to stitch together the story and tell the story. So yeah, you don't have control, unfortunately, in that aspect. Now, if you directed and wrote it and had all that whole situation, then we could talk about it from another standpoint. But yeah, this is why I don't understand why people in general, and I know this as a writer myself, don't get too attached to what these people do to your books. That, yeah, I would be pissed if y'all hacked up my shit and ruined it. But at the same time, it's like, you know what? I'm gonna get my little coin. Y'all do what y'all want, as long as you fit within the core and the essence of what it is that I wrote in this book or the book series. Then develop how you want to develop it. Yeah, but don't just ransack and hack up my stuff. I'll be upset about that. But however they do whatever they do, it is what it is. And if people don't respond to it, I just hope that they don't blame you for it, that they'll realize that, you know what, I did what I could, and that's all that matters. So to wrap all this up, 'cause that was a lot, I had to show y'all the receipts. Um, I should say that Paramount Pictures or anyone involved in the production has commented, but I'm sure when this movie starts coming out, which from what I've heard, it's in January of 2027. Whenever they start promoting this movie, I'm sure this will be a question that they will be asking the director, the cast, and we'll just hear what scripted thing they were told to say by their publicist. Hopefully they'll come out and they'll say the real thing. But yeah, for those who aren't aware of what Children of Blood and Bone is about, it's about someone by the name of Zeli Adibola, a young woman determined to restore magic to the kingdom of Orisha while confronting themes of oppression, slavery, and systemic justice. The film is currently scheduled to arrive, as I said, in 2027 of January, though Paramount has yet to release a trailer shown exclusively at CinemaCon earlier this year. Well, I hope because it's under the Ellisons that that's probably not also a reason why this thing is a mess because of who's running Paramount Studios. So I'll definitely keep you guys abreast of the story. But in the meantime, I want to hear from those of you out there who are fans of this franchise. What do you think of this story? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. All right, all right, all right, all right. Ew, 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 ew. Did you get into the Fall of Our Stars perks? I did not get into the Fall of Our Stars. I did like Perks of Being a Wallflower. Which one? Wait, which one was the one with Hermione Granger was in? Did like that movie. I saw the Maze Runner and Divergent Books in Goodwill once, but I didn't pick them. Like the Maze Runner, the movies, whatever. Divergent series was trying so hard to be like that big tent pole. It was trying so hard to be the Hunger Games. I just did not like the direction which they were taking that situation. I could never get into Twilight. Twilight definitely was. It was basically fucking 50 Shades fan fiction with vampires and shitty writing. ATD revealed Confessions 2 is looking 120 in the first week. Well, good for her. Yeah, because, well, Madam X was, you already know how I feel about that album. um, Amanda Stenberg also played the lead role in The Hate You Give, which was originally a dark skinned character in the book. I read this like film adaptation. Sabrina Carpenter during her. Speaking of which, I'm hearing rumors floating around again that Sabrina Carpenter is in talks of playing Emma Frost in the upcoming X-Men movie. There have been so many names that's been thrown around. We heard Sydney Sweeney is going to be playing Emma Frost. There's been so many people that so many blondes they've been trying to put in that whole situation. I was like, I don't know. I heard about this literally last night. Apparently, the fans are calling the author out on her hypocrisy. See, and I think that's what it is. And that's why I said that's the sense of what I got from this is that they're calling the colorism, the casting of Amandla, they're calling her a hypocrite. But if this is who you had in mind when you were writing the script, you could have just said that I saw Amandla as Rue in the Hunger Games, and it inspired me to write the story. Yeah, in the book, you may have made this child, dark skinned, but visually in my mind, I had a man look. So it's like you trying to play both sides of the fence, and the fans is calling your ass out, and now you trying to backpedal and throwing Amanda under the bus when Amanda trying to basically trying to defend herself because people are mad over her being cast. But she's like, but the creator of the book franchise said that she was inspired by my character in the Hunger Games and encouraged me to audition. So if this is the stuff you're saying, you just need to be honest and not try to be fake. And now you're being called out and you don't like it. Oh well, welcome to Hollywood. You said that's where we disagree because I would stand 10 toes down on my original character that I created being portrayed accurately. A biracial person will not be playing a fully black character in my world. Well, yeah, but look, if that's the character she had in mind, oh, okay, so it was Perks of being a wallflower. Yeah, I like that movie. Who was the other one that was in that? Damn, I forgot his name. Was it Logan Learman? Was it that? He's a cutie. I was like, well, yeah, is Logan Lerman in that movie? And I wish that I was gonna say I wish Hermione. I don't know why I keep calling her TV name. I mean her movie name. Emma Watson. I wish Emma Watson would come. Child. She wishes. I'm like, nobody can be Anne Rice. Speaking of which, I have to get into the new season of The Vampire Lestat. I already heard Akasha made her appearance last night, so I gotta watch this season of The Vampire Lestat because I'm hearing good things about it. I haven't gotten into. I have it saved where I can watch it because I have Philo. That's the only way I get AMC. So I need to watch this new season. Yeah, she could never be Stephanie Myers is a terrible writer. She really is. I'm like, you got away with writing this crap. But no, you should cast based on the whole situation because it makes it seem like here go the studios again. Um, Here go the studios again interfering because they don't want a black girl up in there. They want somebody who could be palatable to white people. But if it's a story about oppression and things that affects black people as a whole, it needs to be told from that point of view and not being like, well, we need to market it to the white people. If white people want to come along and watch the movie, y'all could do that. But we need to market to, it's the same thing I was saying before about Supergirl. If you're going to make a movie about a superhero that's female, you should market it to women to get them to come watch it. Same way they came out to see Devil Wears Prada 2 and Barbie and all these other things. When they made Barbie, they wasn't thinking about men. They made the movie specifically for women and homosexuals because the gays came out and the women came out. And yeah, the men came along because their girlfriends or wives dragged them to the movies for date night. But for the most part, it was geared towards women. Same thing with this movie. You got to gear it towards black folks. And a lot of times they want to have this racially ambiguous lead, and now the fans is upset because they feel like it needs to be exact interpretation according to the book. Well, yeah, she might be too short on the thing, but here's the thing. I think everybody look tall on screen. So, and they have all kinds of tricks when you're doing like a scene where you're standing next to somebody to make it appear that you're taller than you actually. There's so many tricks that goes into making movies, but people want to go. Well, in real life, she 5'2", and according to the character, she's supposed to be. Look, Wolverine was short in the comics, and y'all picked 6'2" freaking Hugh Jackman to play him. He might be taller than that, but I'm thinking he's 6'2". That's in my head for now. Y'all can let me know his actual height. Um, it says Stephanie Myers was also in her emo bag when she wrote Twilight. It could be viewed as My Chemical Romance. And speaking of My Chemical Romance, the lead singer has his own comic book. It was on what was it? It was on Netflix. I bailed after like maybe season 3 on that show. Logan Lerman. I think he might be married in real life, if I'm not mistaken. Logan Lerman, cute self. Hey, you said, I have still yet to read Heated Rivalry, but all the men that have read the book say the smut is terribly written. Homosexual men too, but the women well, women like all that stuff. Yeah, Gerard Way, that's what it was. Is a comic book fan, and that's something James The Shade. He said, I watch better fanfic smut. I made better fanfic smut than 50 Shades of Grey. Garbage book. Oh, please. And people was getting a life. I remember one time when I worked at AMC and that franchise came out. First of all, I was afraid to go in them damn theaters because I was like, y'all probably up in there carrying. We found a dental dam and a soaking wet seat. I was like, ooh, y'all nasty. Somebody was up in there getting wet watching that movie or, a 5-finger discount. But anyway, enough of my woes. I remember a friend of mine, Esteban, took a picture of it. Ooh, I should hit him up and be like, remember that time when we worked at AMC and we was in the theater and then all of a sudden we found a dental dam on the floor and a soaking wet seat. I'm like, child, I pity the person that's going to sit there. I'm sure you got the reference. And I ain't talking about stealing. All right, now let's talk about something that's not shitty or a shitty script. It's not based on a book either. But let's talk about Obsession. So Obsession's got reason to celebrate because It's now made over $400 million at the box office. And the great thing about this, the movie only cost, I believe, $750,000 to make. And it's already made close to $500 million at the box office. So at the 2 months in theaters, the indie horror breakout has grossed a remarkable 403 million, including 245 million domestically and 157 million overseas. The twisted romantic fantasy, directed by YouTuber Curry Barker, was produced, as I stated, for a mere 750 grand and acquired by Focus Features for $14 million at last year's Toronto Film Festival, or TIFF for short. So Obsession has become a widely profitable sensation. Most films would taper off or leave theaters altogether after 8 weekends of release, not Obsession, which remained a draw over the July 4th holiday with 5.3 million domestically and 12 million internationally. It's inching towards the 250 million mark in North America, a threshold that few films, art house or not, achieve in these challenging post-pandemic times. The low-budget thriller opened on May with 17 million in North America, a very encouraging start for an original film. Then something remarkable happened. Ticket sales continued to rise, resulting in 4 consecutive weekends that were larger than its debut. Positive word of mouth and enthusiastic Gen Z audiences have fueled the turnout for Obsession, which follows a hopeless romantic named Bear, played by Michael Johnston, who makes a Faustian bargain to win the heart of his crush, Nikki, played by Inda Navarrete. And I should also point out with Inda, Inde is how she spells the name, Navarrete. I heard that she admitted that she's been in conversations with um oh my God, what's his name? The director of the upcoming X movie that did Thunderbolts, Jake Schreier. He said she's been in talks with him for this X movie. Now, who could she be playing? I don't know, but it'll be interesting. I mean, if y'all got ideas on who she could play, definitely let me know. I'm like, could she play Rogue? I don't know if she could play Mystique. Y'all already know who I want to play Mystique. I really think it'd be a huge thing if they could make Mystique a trans woman because she does transform. So from different beings and things of that nature. So to have someone like Hunter Schafer playing Mystique, I really think that'd be a great thing. First of all, her physicality, her body, how skinny, like how thin she is, very like a model's body. And they've hired models to play Mystique, not Jennifer Lawrence, but Rebecca Romaine was a model before she was an actress. She was Stamos at the time, but you get the gist. So then they also said Obsession and A24 Sleeper Success Backrooms. Backrooms, another buzzy horror film, upended conventional wisdom that young people weren't all that interested in the big screen. It turns out the TikTok generation wants to go to the movies too. Yes, they do. Because I tell y'all how many times I've gone to the movies and I'm surrounded by Gen Zers. I remember when I went to see Backrooms, I had a bunch of Gen Zers sitting around me. They don't know how to sit still, but overall, but they're there because I had this one girl sitting next to me and she kept fidgeting. I'm looking at her like, girl, if you don't stop moving. So, this new generation, y'all just don't know how to sit in one spot and just watch the screen. But whatever. So yeah, the TikTok generation wants to go to movies too. Backrooms, directed by YouTuber Kane Parsons, also caught fire at the box office with a stellar 347 million worldwide to date. Saying, quote, there's a new generation of moviegoers who are declaring a very specific taste for horror movies that is quite left of center. This is according to James Blum, who produced Obsession and Backrooms through his company Blumhouse Atomic Monster. He says there's a lot of concern about theatrical, and this is a real new growth era. So I think what it is y'all need to talk to the newer generation, understand what it is they want to go see, and start catering to them. I'm not saying that you got to come across with, oh, we need to find another Backrooms or we need to find another Obsession. No, you need to just make authentic, honest films that people of this generation can relate to, and they'll come out and support it. If it's not authentic, they will see through it, and your movies will flop. And 9 times out of 10, they don't care about these new superheroes or these superhero films or whatever. I feel like maybe superheroes are kind of on the decline. We'll see if that happens down the road. But for the most part, Gen X, they ain't looking at y'all for the thing anymore. Millennials, we probably still can hold on a little bit. We still got a little juice left in the in the lemon. But it seemed like Gen Z is the next generation that y'all need to be focusing on. So congratulations to Obsession. I ain't gonna hold you. It's been out on digital. I have not gotten around to watching it yet. Um, I gotta check and see if I have the time, but I may have to rent it and watch it because I've been wanting to see this Obsession movie for the longest. One thing I'm actually excited about is a horror movie that I definitely want to see, which is what was it? Game of Death? Is that what it's called? With why am I forgetting names and shit? With Dacre Montgomery, that's finally coming to Shutter this week. So I'm excited to see it. They got the original one already on Shutter. So I'm thinking maybe I should do like a back-to-back watch of the original and the remake. I'm even thinking maybe I should do a reaction video. Sidebar, I'm starting to think that maybe I do better reaction videos with movies than music. I just need to test it out and see. Because I already got it implanted in my head that I'm going to do a reaction video to the finale of Drag Race. And this week, Canada's Drag Race versus the World, whatever the hell that's called, comes out this week. So I could start jumping into taking some shows and watching them and reacting, giving my commentary and pausing. Because 9 times out of 10, if I'm watching something and it's for drama feel, I do be talking to the screen like Jada Pinkett Smith in Scream 2. So why not do it in film form? Or TV form, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story? Have you seen Obsession yet? What are your overall thoughts about the movie? Are you shocked that it's grossed so far over $400 million globally at the box office? And what do you think it is? Why people are resonating with Obsession so much? And I think it's relatability. People can relate to you having a crush on somebody and wanting something you can't have and going to extreme measures to get what it is you want. And then 9 times out of 10, when you go and get that thing, you finally get that thing you want, even if dark arts is the incorporate factor of how you got what you got. The grass ain't always greener on the other side. So, and I like the fact that it's like nobody's innocent in this whole situation. So, whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. The Dance Interior radio edit removes shit and the cocaine line. And we don't care about no goddamn radio edit. I'll be listening to the original. Did you like the new Beyonce song? I liked it when it dropped. I thought it was the lead single for Act 3, but it's just an unreleased song. Yeah, it was something that she worked on years ago, and she finally, I guess, fixed it and released it. Well, if you want to know my answer, I did post it on social media. Let me look it up. First of all, I posted this picture of Rocco. I was like, ooh, that boy. I mean, he grown now, so we could look at him and not feel bad. He's what, 25, 26? Well, here's what I said, because they said Beyonce's new single Morning Dew, Donk, failed to debut on the global Spotify chart. The 44-year-old singer currently has no songs on the chart. This is according to Black Media over on the Twitter. And I said, no one asked for the dry ass song. This is Confession Summer. That Creole voodoo spell she be conjuring through that secret hair grease is finally wearing off. So that was my overall thoughts. Do you think that was a little harsh? He said the Odyssey press is starting, and I'm not interested. Well, I do want to see Odyssey. First of all, this week, Evil Dead. What's it called? Evil Dead Burn? The new Evil Dead movie, we'll call it that. That's coming out this week. So I'm looking forward to that. I gotta find time to go see it because I have to be at City Field later on. So I might have to do this thing, getting up early, going to the movies, going to the gym, and then going to work and checking it out. So yeah, I heard the press is starting because the movie comes out this week. I mean, no, next week. And there was a story that went around saying that influencers are not getting to go see the film and all this other stuff because they feel like influencers are ruining it for actual critics that goes in. I've been seeing whole videos and discourses about it. And then an article came out said that that's not true, that there's no that influencers aren't going to go see the film because they are. I heard their reviews is coming out tomorrow. Sounds like it's a B-Day 20th anniversary edition coming out. Could be, and they're gonna add that song to it. B-Day is a good record. There is indeed a B-Day 20th anniversary special, which is strange because Day is notorious for not celebrating anniversaries because well, look, she can't deny it. She in her 40s. So embrace it, sis. Anyway. All right, y'all. So now let's get into our final topic regarding movies and things. And let's talk about G.I. Joe. So you already know with what's that other one? Masters of the Universe didn't do all that well. We're still waiting to find out what's going on with Voltron. Don't know when that's coming out. It's been filmed, it's shelved, we don't know when it's getting a release. They're talking about a Thundercats movie, but it's gonna be animated. But in regards of this, I heard there was two scripts that were going around regarding G.I. Joe. It seems like the Danny McBride one won out. And Danny McBride, for those who are not familiar, yeah, he's a comedian. He also had a hand in writing the script for the Halloween trilogy that we got with the one that came out 2018, Halloween Kills, Halloween Ends, which, did piss a lot of people off, but nevertheless, he is coming out with this G.I. Joe movie. I'm a little skeptical, although I will say this. I do feel like out of all the 80s IPs that we're getting or that they're talking about making, I do think that a G.I. Joe movie would work in this whole format because military, you can ground it. You can have them come out with really cool gadgets and stuff, similar to but give it that old 80s tone of like grounded action like we used to get back in the days of Sylvester Stallone and Arnold Schwarzenegger, like bring that whole tone to it, but grounded. So I could definitely see this working. Whereas Master of the Universe is not going to be relatable to any generation. But if you make a really cool movie with people in like a military type setting, I do think that it will work. Just like I feel like Transformers could still work. So earlier this year, the trades reported that Paramount Pictures was developing two potential G.I. Joe movies, one from the Righteous Gemstone director Danny McBride and another from controversial Chronicle scribe Max Landis. Oh yeah, there was some drama going on with him, and I remember he did write a script, and then I heard they didn't move forward with the Max Landis version. Now, Transformers: Rise of the Beast director Stephen Caple Jr.'s Transformers / G.I. Joe crossover is still being considered, but it seems McBride's reboot will be first to cross the finish line and reach theaters. In an interview with Josh Horowitz, via sffgazette.com, the actor and filmmaker confirmed, that the script is complete and revealed plans to start filming in 2027. We also have the first plot details, and despite McBride's largely comedic background, assurances that he's taking the material seriously. And he says that the reason why is because he's a legitimate fan of the source material and all signs are pointing to him doing right by the comics. He says, I've written the script. Yes, I'm stoked about it. I'm really fired up about the script. Paramount seems fired up about it, so hopefully we're shooting it next year. It was definitely the cartoons and the comics. G.I. Joe was my first thing when I was a kid. I like that more than Star Wars. More than anything, I love G.I. Joe. I still have all the characters. I tried to give my G.I. Joe collection to my son, and he wasn't interested. You know who's interested? My daughter, who likes robots. That's who. That's who pays with gung ho and snake eyes in the shower. How old are your damn kids? Now, revealing that he initially approached Paramount with an idea for a Dreadnoks movie, McBride went on to explain that the studio wanted to relaunch G.I. Joe before committing to a project revolving around the reprehensible group of mercenaries, vandals, and thieves who worked for both Zartan and Cobra over the years. Jeff Radley and John Carcieri, who I wrote a lot of the Righteous Gemstones with, we sat down and we cracked something that we really love a lot. And weirdly, it grounds G.I. Joe. It's not a comedy. It's suspense and action, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Well, I did say you had to ground it. Asked which direction the story is heading in, McBride was surprisingly open and shared some specific plot details for the upcoming movie that fans of the comics and animated series will surely approve of, saying you're following Duke and a group of other Joes. That's the town. There's that town in the comics, Springfield, which is a town that's secretly all Cobra. That is where our film takes place. He teased, adding, we have some pretty interesting people lining up to be in it too. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but it looks like it's going to be pretty fun. So if you're going to have a bunch of um, other Joes winding up in a town that's secretly all Cobra affiliates. I definitely feel like it feels more of like, did y'all see Ballerina? The third act of the Ballerina, where she ends up in this town that's all full of assassins. I think if you kind of place it in that whole standpoint and they're having to try to fight their way out of that, I definitely think that that would be a cool idea. I also think if you're going to do dreadnoughts, I do think that I would like to see that down the road. But the smart thing you have to do is establish your franchise before you end up trying to develop that go on these off kilter stories or movies or whatever. So if G.I. Joe does well, then you can go into the whole Dreadnoks and stuff down the road. But I think you should do the Dreadnoks after you've done G.I. Joe and then a sequel. So then maybe a couple of years from now we can get that. But in the meantime, just focus on the thing at first. So so to me, and here's the thing, I definitely feel like G.I. Joe franchise needs a proper reboot. I definitely feel like it needs redemption. And some of the other movies that we've gotten in the past, I mean, the first G.I. Joe, they're entertaining. The what was it, Rise of Cobra? That was the one they brought Dwayne Johnson in, and they killed off Channing Tatum. That one was okay. And then don't even get me right. Don't even get me started with Snake Eyes. That movie was just atrocious. Now I like the people that was in it. I like Andrew Koji. I like Henry Golding. I like all the the people they had in it. The movie was just bad. The action sequences were just god awful too. So we definitely need GI Joe to be done properly. Hopefully, it happens. And it seems like if they're gonna start filming this thing in 2027, I could definitely see us getting this movie by 2028. I don't know about 2029, but I do feel like maybe you could release it August 2028 if you shoot at the top of 2027 or within 2027. We can get it later on in 2028. If you need to, just take time, put it in 2029. But I don't want to wait that long. But anyway, so I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story? Are you here for another G.I. Joe movie? Whatever your thoughts are on this matter. Um, and what you would like to, well, let me know what you also want to see in the reboot and all this other stuff as well. So yeah, let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. I don't think I can look at a dishwasher to say. Speaking of which, because you talking about that dishwasher, have you seen the popcorn bucket for Evil Dead? It's literally the dishwasher. I laughed when I saw that. So I'm like, I would definitely love to get something like that, but I don't want to start being around trying to collect these popcorn buckets and stuff because I'm like, where would I put it? So I try not to, collect all that stuff too much. The first and last time I ever bought a bucket was when Alien Romulus came out. All right, y'all. So now let's get into this story. So I don't know if y'all heard, but Taylor Swift got married over the weekend to Travis Kelce. Now, there seems to be a lot of top secret things that's going on around about it. There were little things we was hearing about it. TMZ, first of all, y'all are tired with some of the headlines. They're like, oh, Bradley Cooper and Gigi Hadid leaving New York after Taylor Swift's wedding. That's a story? Who cares? Like a lot of the headlines that they were putting out there, I was like, who gives a shit? But what people seem to give a shit about is the fact that what are the details? What went on behind the scenes at this wedding? There have been little discourses here and there. People have been spilling little things here and there. I think Adam Aaron from that runs that's running AMC into the ground. He posted and then deleted something on social media. But the reality is, I honestly have not been keeping up with all the details of what was going on. I think there was some pictures that got online of the overall aesthetic of MSG. I don't know if it's AI or if it's real. I didn't even bother doing the research to even look into it to care. But what should come as no shock as to anybody, apparently word on the street is employees that work at MSG, and I'm one of them, but I wasn't there, so what am I going to tell y'all? My department didn't work which is guest services. We didn't work the situation. It was security. I believe some of the food and beverage people did work the event because I remember somebody that works in the food department telling me that, well, mentioning, I overheard it, saying that they're scheduled to work the wedding. This is before the wedding happened. But um, so yeah, I don't know what the hell happened. I don't know what's going on. I don't know no tea until I go to work and I ask somebody and they got information they want to tell me. Now, will I be spilling it on here? No, because I like my job and I'm not trying to get fired. And what people need to realize is that we got good tech people that work over at MSG that find out stuff and will fire you for it. Like, I don't even know if I told y'all this, but there was a kid that went and posted our work notes. We get every time we go to roll call and we have to work events, like tomorrow I'm doing Bon Jovi. And that's their first of 5 shows that they're gonna be doing this month, I believe. I'm trying to remember if there's any more shows spilling over into August. I have to look at my schedule. But um we get an itinerary, we get paperwork on the details regarding of what time they go on, if there's an intermission, what time they go off. There's personal numbers on the paper. So that way, if you need to get in contact with certain people, and this idiot's going screenshotting and posting this stuff online to people, I guess his friends. And we got good tech people that work at MSG. Look, let me tell y'all, I'm sure y'all probably even know this based off of what certain people said. Jim Dolan has face recognition when we walk up in the garden. So when there's people he don't want up in there, all up on the face and skedaddle, you getting out. That's basically how things work over there. So it's crazy how high tech my job is and how they play no games in regards to the security. So security is very much valued over there. So for people to come out and spill tea, I just hope whoever you spilled it to pays good coin, because if it and it was worth you losing your job over you telling whatever needs to be told. So in addition, so with all that being said, let's get into the Mirror article, because I had to go and give that whole disclaimer before I talked about this topic. So Madison Square Garden, they said, has reportedly fired several staff members over alleged violations of NDAs tied to the wedding. Bloomberg reporter Miles Teller, really? That's your name? I mean, no, it's Miles Miller. Apparently, I can't read. I was about Miles Teller, the actor. This is Miles Miller, said, citing inside knowledge of the situation. He also confirmed that law enforcement had their phones confiscated when they entered the venue. Well, I did hear before the whole situation went down that phones is going to be confiscated by anybody that worked it. He said every person walking in had their phones taken, that no one was allowed to enter the building before the wedding. This is Mirror US had reached out to MSG for comment. Well, they're not going to give you that, so good luck. Now, early in the week, Page Six reported that MSG is off limits to all corporate employees this week, and that the employees were not given a reason why it's a no-go zone. The couple have been keeping everyone in the dark about the details of their wedding, tied the knot in a romantic ceremony in New York City, surrounded by their close friends and family, including somebody who's running ICE. Because that's why another reason why they're going after Taylor is because really these are the people, like some of the people that was on the guest list that showed up at the wedding. A lot of people have been questioning why are you inviting people, including somebody who's in charge of overseeing ICE facilities, is at your wedding. That lady is about as white as American pie. Who in her family are they worrying about getting deported? So, Travis and Taylor's elaborate ceremony comes less than a year after they announced their engagement. The pair sent shockwaves through the entertainment world in August of 2025 with the news. The couple shared the milestone in a series of engagement pictures on Instagram with the caption, "Your English teacher and your gym teacher are getting married." The proposal featured stunning flower displays and, of course, a huge diamond ring. Now, Taylor and Travis have been romantically linked, as we know, since 2023. So they've been together for a good 3 years, and they decided, let's tie the knot. When they went public with their relationship in October of 2023, where they were seen holding hands at a SNL party. The couple first met when Travis attended the Eras Tour concert at Arrowhead Stadium, speaking on his New Heights podcast with his brother Jason, who I heard his children were the flower. I don't know how many girls he has or whatever, but they would have, they threw the flowers down. Travis admitted he was disappointed he couldn't meet Taylor at the time and give her a bracelet with his phone number on it. She doesn't meet anybody, or at least she didn't want to meet me, so I took it personal. The podcast asked on Instagram, anyone know how to get a bracelet to at Taylor Swift 13? And I guess maybe after that happened, that's when she was like, oh, who was this trying to get in contact with? Oh, he cute. Let me check him out. Like, let's see if there's any kind of chemistry there, and the rest is history. He then soon admitted that he had invited the beloved pop icon to a game at Arrowhead, sparking a frenzy among fans. I threw the ball in her court, he said on another talk show, and Taylor clearly took Travis up on his offer, making an appearance at the Chiefs Bears game, cheering next to his mom, Donna Kelce, who we saw on The Traders last season. So yeah, I don't know why anybody's surprised that if you violate an NDA, and that just goes with any job or anywhere in general. If you are signing an NDA, if you're not supposed to spill anything that went down at a certain situation, you keep it to yourself. You don't spill tea unless you don't value your job and they could fire you. So it's always in the contracts that you sign. And even like when I'm at Madison Square Garden, we are told that, anything that goes on in this building, political affiliations, whatever the case is, keep that to yourself when it comes to certain artists or whatever, or if people ask you certain things politically or whatever, don't engage with the people at the job, because it's like you never know who you're talking to. You could be just innocently giving, like trying to make conversation, and you don't know who you could be talking to, or they'll misconstrue your words and they'll go to a higher. Oh, I know so and so, and I'm gonna call a higher up, and I'm gonna get this person fired, or I'm gonna get them in trouble. People always have their ways about stuff, so you just got to be extra careful when it comes down to certain situations, especially if you value your life, your mind of work. So 9 times out of 10, if I'm telling y'all stuff about a show or whatever, I'm always telling y'all after the fact and giving you details on what the show entails. But anything like top secret stuff, oh yeah, I keep that to myself. Maybe I'll put that in my novel. And my memoirs down the road. But in the meantime, I definitely want to hear from y'all. Oh, excuse me. What do you think of this story? Are y'all shocked that people who worked at MSG were out here violating NDAs and then they ended up unemployed? So, whatever your thoughts are on this matter, let me know in the comments down below. Child, the ghetto. All right. Let's see what the people are saying. I heard Disney Plus is the exclusive. Child. So now we're literally like recording the wedding so people can like, to me it doesn't even feel authentic or like y'all really love each other. You're making this a spectacle. Like your wedding should be your wedding. But oh, I want to invite the fans into it. So I want to turn it into a TV show or whatever. This is kind of corny though. The wedding photos haven't dropped yet, so everyone's collective interest has deteriorated whilst the majority of her wedding is being questioned. I just want to see the wedding dress. Yeah. Let's just see what she wore. It's always the food and beverage people. Hello. Why do you think I've always kind of buddied up to them? It's always food and beverage, and because they the ones that be in and out of them suites and in them rooms when stuff be happening, because they got to serve people. So the servers always got the tea. Not only that, but a lot of times when I was on sets and stuff, the people that you really get the tea from is hair and makeup. They was always the ones that knew the real gossip. So that's another one. It's a wise words from everyone's favorite Democratic socialist. It's giving Marie Antoinette. It's giving. Oh wait, did Marie lose her head too? Or is that? Wait, no. I was going to say, it was that the fate of Ophelia. I forgot. Ophelia drowned. She didn't lose her head. Taylor has always had fantasy of being the bride of a star football player at the big age of 36, and I guess she got her wish. I can only hope for some good music. We'll see. I'm not shocked. They violated the NDA, so that's their fault. Taylor and Travis just wanted a private wedding on the 4th of at the Madison Square Garden in the biggest city in the country. And first of all, in the middle of Midtown, everybody knows the center of New York City technically is Times Square. But if you really want to talk about the center of entertainment, it's Madison Square Garden. So for you to shut down 8th Avenue, couple of blocks, where, like I said, the ones I was feeling bad for was the bars, because you already know we still got the FIFA situation going on, a lot of soccer games, and people are wanting to fill up the sports bars and watch those shows, watch the game or whatever while they're drinking and hanging out with their friends. A lot of those bars are losing money. Sophie, because you want to shut things down and you don't want anybody trying to get anywhere near the garden. I would have just been like, can you just shut down like all the area around the garden? Now the block leading up to it, just tell them they got to cross the street or go around a certain way. But to close off a multitude of blocks, I just thought was crazy. Which is about as insane as like when we had Trump show up. That was a headache. And how I've had, and thank God I didn't work that game, but I remember I was talking to coworkers and they were telling me it took them an hour to get into the garden. I remember there's been times when Trump has come to Madison Square Garden, it never took me that long to get up in there. It maybe took me like a good 10, 15 minutes because I was waiting on a long ass line and we had to get searched extra harder than usual. But this time it was just too much. So screw your black tie wedding. The choose MSG during 4th of July weekend was definitely a choice. Of course, you did all of that. Many New York, what's NY? Oh, New York residents, of course, because we don't give a shit about all that stuff. I tell you, the one thing about New Yorkers, we don't care about all that pomp and circumstance. All we care about is can I get from point A to point B? I got places to go, things to see, and people to do. So if I can't get from my usual routine of point A to point B, or if sometimes I'm not even thinking or even aware of what's going on with Taylor Swift, and I come out on 8th Avenue and 34th Street from the subway, and now I'm being turned around and I got to come out a whole nother way because the route I usually go is blocked, I would be upset because now I got to take a roundabout way to get to where I'm trying to go. Where it don't normally take me this long to get where I'm going. But these people with all this coin, they don't care. They're not convenience. They don't take the train like the rest of us. They don't do day-to-day stuff like the rest of us. You got a driver. You have people that can get you from point A to point B because you got the coins to do so. The FIFA game confessions to release parties at the clubs, and then Miss Taylor and her $50 million wedding. I saw actually compared her wedding to Trump attending the. Yeah, pretty much said it was like this. Look, we don't need no taintation on MSG right now with this stuff. We still the world's most famous arena, but we don't need any more taintations on that place with Taylor Swift and her damn wedding. And now, I mean, we got Trump coming to the thing, but look, he got easily reminded. Boo. But yeah, I said y'all can do whole discourses on that, but damn, it's like, and the one thing I hate too is like when you actually are in that whole zeitgeist, I gotta tread lightly. Like people can go off and just give their full opinions, and I wish I could. I feel like I did good enough with my overall thoughts, but when you really in there and know the bells and the whistles and the meat potatoes, you can't really talk. I hate it, but you got to think what's more important. So I get a coin from Madison Square Garden. Child, when I saw my check the other day, I gasped. I was like, "Oh, where this money come from?" Because I be working. But anyway, let's move on and let's talk about somebody I do give a shit about. Let's talk about Madonna, who was in the news because, Confessions 2 came out on Friday. Majority of the people, except tired ass Consequence of Sound, is loving the album and giving honest reviews of the album. Everybody's saying it's her best album in 20 years. I feel like it's her most personal album to date. So when people sit up there talking about that she ain't really getting deep and stuff, that it's all style and no substance, I'm like, you need to clean the cobwebs out your ears and stop just listening to them BPMs and actually put the lyrics up as you listen to the songs and really get deep in the body, because Miss Thing is spitting and she's spilling some tea. And one of the bit of tea that she's spilling happens to be throwing shade at her ex-husband, Sean Penn. I mean, not only is she going on Sean Penn on Bizarre, which was produced by Martin Garrix, she also throws shade at her stepmother on Betrayal. And then she has a conversation with her daughter, Lourdes, on The Test. So she definitely gets deep in a lot of situations. She wonders why people don't want to go outside and everybody's confined in their homes and on their phones and everything. Which I love that song, because that song just goes hard. It's just like when you listen to the lyrics and then it's just like, damn, where does production? This beat just goes. I was like, and I was living. I was like, okay, Madonna, I could definitely, like, to me, I feel like the way I imagine everything is when she goes, "That's okay, I don't fuck with it," and then that beat goes off. That's like you really got to go in and just do some intense fucking like some aerobics type choreography. But I want Madonna to put her herself too much. She's 67. She can't be dancing like she was back in the first Confessions. But anyway, so with this situation, let's get into this tea. So Madonna's new Confessions 2 album has courted speculation over the lyrics of a song that sees the pop icon haunted by the ghost of her famous ex-lover that many have speculated is Oscar-winning actor Sean Penn. Confessions 2 Cut Bizarre tells the story of the push and pull attraction between Madonna and an old flame, whom she describes in the Martin Garrix-produced Dance Tunes lyrics as having physical features similar to the One Battle After Another star, saying love is the strangest thing. Just when you think you finally let go, it comes back to you. This is what she softly speaks at the top of the song, addressing 41 years after she first married Penn in 1985. Now, Madonna continues singing about a movie star with deep blue eyes, which Penn famously also has, calling their relationship a perfect prize in Hollywood. He drove way too fast. Shelby Cobra wasn't meant to last. And then, of course, that's referencing a brand of a car that she's rumored to have previously gifted to Penn before they divorced in 1989. So I don't know how vague and speculative this needs to be called out. I don't think it's vague or speculative at all. I think if you pay attention to Madonna and stuff that's going on in her past, if she's telling you Shelby, I was going to say Shelby Oaks. Shelby Cobra and mentioning about a movie star, deep blue eyes. I mean, what other man was she married to that was an actor? And she gave that card to in the 80s. So obviously is who she talking about. I don't think she was trying to be. I mean, look, the woman almost died from sepsis. I think at this point in her life, she ain't even trying to be all, well, I'm gonna be coy with my lyrics. Like she ain't got anybody got time for that in the words of the late Sweet Brown. Wait, Sweet Brown is dead, right? So they said, now rolled out the carpet for us, but you won't share it. I guess you're threatened by me. You won't admit it. She later sings in the song, the little things that you did that make me want you. The fire was so intense. The chorus swells as Madonna asks, who knew that love could be so bizarre? Before more verses detail over frustrations in their relationship. I know I left you behind and you resent me. A thousand reasons why you could never have me. The thought of being with you is so indecent. I guess you'll never know my dirty little secrets. So, look, she got deep, deeper than a pond. And then she also admitted later in the song, now you're gone, I feel so empty. Why do you tempt me? Because remember, there were points where she kind of flirted with wanting to give, like when they had that connection where you see, I think in this picture up here, where they kind of ran into each other. I think she kind of flirted with the idea of wanting to get back with him, but I'm glad it didn't work it out because Sean got a divorce. He was with Robin Wright. They divorced, and I think he got another relationship where he got married and got a divorce. So maybe at the end of the day, like Madonna, Sean is meant to be alone. I won't say alone in the sense of like, well, I should say not married. Maybe I should say that because they're two strong-willed people. So now the LP's rollout, we're talking about Confessions too, has generated intense excitement among fans. The Queen of Pop's high-profile promotional campaign saw her return to her roots in dance music with buzzy performances high above Times Square at Libidiqua nightclub, The Abbey in West Hollywood, and at Coachella alongside lead singer Bring Your Love with Sabrina Carpenter. So, and also remember, she did an interview with Bob the Drag Queen and a bunch of other homosexuals or LGBTs, where she opened up about her past relationship with JFK Jr., which said that he gave her the best sex of her life. Because she said, I'm only going to talk about the dead one because, I don't want to hurt the feelings of the ones that's alive. So I said that's an easy way of going about it. And I know some people sitting there like, well, why is she on Grindr and all of that stuff? I said, look, Madonna's doing it smart. She didn't run around here trying to pander to a new audience. She didn't go around here being like, you know what? Fuck these fans that have been following me for 40 something odd plus years. I want to go after Gen Z. She don't need to do that. Gen Z will be like, okay, what is this music over here? What is going on? And there's a couple of people that are Gen Zers that are doing their reaction videos. And I've been watching a lot of the reaction videos of Madonna's album and release and Confessions too, that sort of thing. And a lot of the younger people are watching it and living and enjoying the music and all this other stuff. And I love the fact that they're jumping on board. But she was smart enough to be like, you know what? I'm going to focus on the fans that have been the diehards from the beginning, the most loyal of fans, and that is her gay fans. So you'd be a fool as to not go for that audience. And it worked. So I know a lot of people was mad because y'all got her picture all up on the center of Grindr. I'm like, look, they ain't going to stop you from trying to get some trade. You can still munch trade over there hunt and then munch trade over there on the Grinder. But she just on there because Grinder and her are in a partnership. And she knows her bread and butter lies with the gays. The gays got the disposable income, and the gays are the most loyal fan base. They've been with her since the beginning. Whereas everybody else gets married, has children, and can be a little fickle or whatever. The queer audience, well, I should say, just stick with it. The gay audience has stuck with her from the beginning. So I love the fact that this is the most personal Madonna has gotten off of her new album. I love how personal she got. I love how I was like, damn, I still am gagging over betrayal. The way she went in on Joan, poor Joan, poor Joan. That I don't know. That reminded me of Auntie May. Wait, what was that? No, what was that movie? Whatever happened to Baby Jane? That's what I was. So yeah, it's just like poor Joan. She definitely got it, but she has a right to feel how she feels. And I love the fact that Madonna got immensely personal on this record. So yeah, after all that being said, I want to hear from you all. What do you guys think of this story regarding that's about she's courting speculation? From who? Because I think we all, those of us who've been following Madonna's career and have kind of been paying attention to everything that goes on in her personal life, we speculating. I think we pretty much know. We've been able to pinpoint based off of the lyrical content and when we listen to the songs, who she's specifically mentioning without mentioning their name in on the songs off the album. So whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. I wonder what Fantano child. I wasn't even thinking about him, but I definitely they're gonna eat him up if he shades his damn review. If he gives them a shitty review, oh, they're gonna eat him up. Not his ball unseasoned salt. Breaking news: Madonna's Confession 2 broke records on Amazon Music as the biggest dance album on first day streams. If I was Warner, once it's posted, send the copyright strikes and demonetize his ass forever. Well, look, I had to make sure when I did my review that I didn't monetize um what I was doing. Wait, hold on, because hold on, because I think my package was delivered. Wait, hold on. I think my package is here. Now I'm gonna have to wait. I gotta go get my package, bitch, so we can unwrap it on the show. Hold on now. Hold on now. Now it's gonna be an issue because I'm trying to make sure. Hold on. Yeah, bitch. She here. Now we can open it up on the show. I'm glad I was able to get it while we was live. It's a little wet though because it's been raining in New York. Which I have not been taken too kindly to, honey. Ooh, ew, that's gooey. The struggle. All right. It's the first one. Ooh. I don't want to know if I want to open her. It's in plastic. It's fantastic. This looks like the CD. I'm like, shut up. No, you know what? I am going to open it. And now this is the vinyl. She has scissors. Look, I'm going to rip this shit open with my hands. Yep, here she is. I got the vinyl. I like it. 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 So yeah, here is the vinyl. Okay, bitch. Can y'all see it? Can y'all see it? I might have to take a picture and put it online. I know it's a damn green screen. And then you go to back. It's in clear cover. And then you can see her here. It's cute. I think I do want to open the CD. Because I ain't selling it. I don't know. I don't get people that go and sell things on eBay and things of that nature. I'm like, nah. Oh, wait a minute. It's first of all, it's a booklet. So why the hell would I get rid of ugh, the struggle, bitch? I can't open that. Okay, I got it. It's the plastic, not tiara. Yeah, I feel something hard up in there. So it is the CD. All right. Oh, yep. It's the book, which it has all the pictures. Got one. Goes Madonna in the pictures. And then we got in the back, it has the confession CD right here. Actually, I have to say, I love this whole situation. I've never seen nothing like it before. And then, of course, it has like Madonna on one side, Confessions 2 on the other side, and the CD inside of it. This is the regular CD, Deluxe. And then we have the Grindr vinyl. So I'll put this here on the side. Let's get back into the show. Now we opening stuff like it's Christmas. Who is the hot Latin man that lied to her on Read My Lips? Isn't that Shakira, man? I don't think Madonna was ever with Gerard PK, the guy in Norris Burroughs, which is the guy she admits that they weren't meant to be. I don't even know who's Norris Burroughs. She did date Jelly Bean, who produced Holiday, and she said he was a piece of shit. That's what I said. I wonder how the half siblings feel about betrayal. And Stella are featured acts on Fragile as background vocals. I wonder, did Mercy play the piano? I think what's his name hurt. I mean, I think Stuart Price mentioned who did the piano. He said, I haven't heard the album yet, but I definitely want to listen to it sometime this week. Now, why Joan catching straight? Because her father went and married another woman. And um you know how the children feel. He said Fantano think too damn highly of himself. Now that wedding, now the wedding is over. Work is back to constantly texting him and harassing him on his day off. Well, look, that's what you want. If you want to deal with an annoying ass woman for a wife, be my guest. Yep, unboxing time. I think I get my CDs and cassette tomorrow. My Pride vinyl, which is sold out and will not be repressed. But I'm glad I got it before everybody else. Now I gotta find somewhere to put it. I think I'm gonna pack it away so that way, nothing happens to it. I would have gotten the Grindr edition if it wasn't a picture disc. Well, look, I got the one thing I like about the deluxe CD, it's a book. It comes as and I think this is a great way to do something. Like if I was to put out an album, I would definitely do it like this. You have like a little pocket where you put the CD in, and then you get like a book of the photos and stuff, and just have it like that. I'd also had like I also would have had like a little book with the like in the book, I would have put like in the back a couple of pages with all the lyrics in it. That's what I would have did. So that way people could read along. I had a guy Madonna saying we need a 2027 calendar because it has so many photos. Yeah, we definitely need a calendar. The CD came in a little zine. That's a magazine slash CD situation. I was like, oh, I like this whole design. I wasn't even expecting it to look like that. I will be getting all 3 T-shirts of the album covers and the hoodie in September and October. But you have to get that online, right? Because I know one thing is I'm gonna have to talk to one of my coworkers when she does do her tour and hopefully at the garden. I'm gonna be like, because one of my coworkers, her son works in the merch department. So whatever section he's working on, I'm like, if y'all could put some stuff where I could go and buy it before y'all open up, like maybe during roll call, when I'm about to go to my section, be like, can I buy some shit from y'all real quick? And then run down. I know they'll probably kill me for doing this, but it was like I have to run down to my the break room real quick. Well, not the locker room real quick and lock my stuff up. Cause I would do that too. Like before roll call, whatever, I would go down to the main NBA store that we have where I could buy like Nick stuff. So that's what I was doing. But when it comes to the merch departments, they always setting their stuff up before I'm ready to go on my shift. They start early. And then they end early. So it's like the ones that are last, that's always there at the garden when food and bev is gone, stations are closed down. Some ones, because there do be some ones that's left open. Because people do want to shop after the concert is done. Um the last ones that stay is usually guest service and security. We're always the last ones. Security more or less because they got to make sure everybody is out the building, out of the bathrooms, wherever. He said, go back to Warner, give her the creative freedom, and come back to formats that we're used to. Well, they knew how to market her. He said not to bring up the billionaire again. Not us referring to her as the billionaire. But one of my first CDs I got was Taylor's Lover, which came in a journal zine that now serves as a time capsule. First CDs I ever bought was Old Girl and Billie Eilish debut. Sign of the Times. My Eusexual vinyl came with a lyric book and a poster. I wish more vinyls came with that. Yeah, I feel like if you're gonna come out with something, I want people to engulf themselves in my artistry. So it's like, yeah, I want to give y'all a poster, a lyric book, or like she has a book here or whatever, and have y'all sitting there looking at it and reading along because when I was growing up, one of the things I always loved about music when during the times of physical media, when physical media was apparent before digital took over, was that I would open up the book, read the liner notes, who produced what, who co-wrote this song with this artist. Like I was always paying attention to who worked behind the scenes on putting all of this together because I was always fascinated. That's like the music nerd in me. I always played and I always focused on a lot of that or was really interested in a lot of that. And I feel like enough artists don't do that. Maybe a lot of them don't take the art of creating music seriously. It's just some shit y'all just throw out there and hope people will like it. Kind of like what Chris Brown does with his stuff. Oh, I'm gonna just put 40 tracks on every album and just hope y'all like whatever I put out there and put no kind of effort, no kind of emotional connectivity to what he does. He just throws it out there. And if y'all be seeing them videos of him and Usher on The people was making fun of Usher. Talking about, I know he had with that big ass fur coat on, coming out with a do rag on his head and that fur coat over his outfit, and just throws it on the floor and starts performing. One of the things before we get into the next topic that I've been living for is, I don't know if y'all have seen some of the clips from the Essence Music Fest online, but I was loving that Aaliyah tribute that they did. One particular, because they had Normani, they had Seven Streeter, they had a bunch of girls up there doing it. The person that I felt did Aaliyah justice and should have just had her up there by herself. And if they decide to give like celebrate her next year at the BET Awards, I think I should just have Maya do it, because Maya sounded like Aaliyah. She captured the essence of Aaliyah. She was up there dancing her ass off and giving you the full on Aaliyah experience. And I was feeling like nobody but Maya could carry that. And I think the reason why it was more believable with Maya versus Normani and the rest of them girls is because Maya and Aaliyah came up around the same time. So they totally understand. She understood the assignment, basically. So that's why I was living for that performance that I was seeing online. The tour edition of Hillary's new album on vinyl, containing 11 bonus tracks, has two big posters, and the other side of both poster is the lyrics. I didn't buy the poster at the stand. I guess you got it from somewhere else. But anyway, let's get back into the show, y'all. And let's talk about Kylie Minogue. So, the Australian Prime Minister by the name of Anthony Albanese has apologized for some comments he made about wanting to fornicate with Kylie Minogue on a podcast. I was like, oh, so this is how we talking on podcasts now. But I guess it's the way these politicians want to become relatable. But I guess people don't want to hear that. But let's get into it. So during a conversation with Albanese on her Deep Bush show, Osborne asked well, I didn't get her first name. Asked the politician, name which Aussie celebrity he'd shag, marry, date. Oh, so now she Andy Cohen, and asked him tasked him with choosing between Minogue, Oscar-winning actress Nicole Kidman, and musical theater star Rhonda Birchmore. Well, I only know two out of the three. I'm surprised you didn't pick Margot Robbie. She's Australian. He said, I've just got married. I'm only 6 months in. This is what he initially replied, clutching his hand over his chest as he spoke about his 2025 marriage to Jodie Hayden. If it goes tits up, let's just pretend, Osborne said, pressing on as Albanese eventually answered, oh, Kylie, clearly. Osborne confirmed with him, you'd marry Kylie, shag her, or date her, to which he doubled down, telling her he'd do all of the above with the Padam Padam hitmaker because she's terrific. Now, following intense blowback over the appearance, Albanese issued issued a statement, Jesus, to CNN on Monday morning, in which he apologized for his remarks. He says, I apologize unequivocally for the comments. Entertainment Weekly has reached out to reps for Albanese and Minogue for comment. Well, Kylie was busy out here at Harry Styles' concert yesterday and living for him and Shania Twain. So she ain't even thinking about whatever it was that y'all got going on over here. Because I've seen them videos online that she was at the Harry Styles concert yesterday. Now, Albanese's statements elicited a strong response from Shadow Minister for Communications and Digital Safety, Sarah Henderson, who wrote a lengthy letter about the incident on Twitter. Henderson called the comments disrespectful to women and embarrassing to Australians and said that they demeaned the offices Albanese assumed in 2022. Comedian, okay, now we got a name. Nikki Osborne is very good at her craft and cleverly skewered the prime minister throughout her interview, Henderson said. Rather than politely decline to engage, Mr. Albanese got into the gutter with his grubby remarks, which show extremely poor judgment, and called it crude locker room talk. Okay, so here's the thing. I get what she's saying in regards to this whole thing regarding Kylie, but you also have to realize the world in which we're in right now. And that's these politicians don't want to come across as stiff and unrelatable. So he wanted to find a way to be relatable. And it was a woman that asked him this question. It was a woman that was trying to channel her into Andy Cohen and ask Shag Marry Kill, which is something he plays on Watch What Happens. I won't say all the time, but he's done it quite a few times. So him answering the question, he didn't want to come across being unrelatable or prude. Or I'm not. I can't dare. I mean, however the Australians talk, I'm not going to answer the question. I'm not going to answer the question. So he wanted to sit there and answer the question. He wanted to play along. He wanted to seem like it was a good sport. And of course, you're going to have people out here acting all demure, mindful, and nose up in the air. How dare you make such comments about Kylie Minogue? And it's like, I get it. But at the same time, like I said, we're living in a time where politicians are trying to be relatable. Call it the Trumpism of it all. But the difference with Trump is he's convicted rapist that went around being disgustingly nasty and crude and all this other stuff towards women, looking at them as nothing more than sexual objects. And then on top of it, whenever strong women, come out and combat him on things, he goes into the low IQ, demeaning word salad stuff that he always says. He goes on one of his dementia-ridden tirades. So I get it. I ain't saying it's right, but I understood why he played along. So I didn't go on to mention her docu-series that's over on Netflix and all the other stuff. So yeah, if y'all want to definitely check out the interview that Nikki Osborne did, I guess you can go over to her to YouTube and watch her interview with Australia's Prime Minister. But I feel like I said all I need to say on that. I mean, I totally get why he said what he said, and it is what it is. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story? Do you think that people are a little just taking it a little too far because I was like they can't play along and say you want to shag Kylie Minogue? I mean, is his wife upset by what he said? And then on top of that, I mean, Kylie Minogue is an attractive woman. I mean, yeah, you kind of demoted her to a sex object, but he said he would F her, marry her, and whatever. What was it? The other thing he said? I don't think he said he'd kill her. I don't think it was F, marry, kill. Um, he said that he likes her. She's amazing. All this other stuff, and yeah, it's just it's a slippery slope. But I definitely want to hear from y'all what y'all got to say on this. Let me know in the comments down below. This old man, he played knick-knack on my thumb with a knick-knack, had away, give a dog a bone. This old whore came running home. He said this old, this old ass man trying to crack a joke about Kylie Minogue. Let's put a stop to the podcast. Yeah, these podcasts gonna get y'all in a world of trouble. They keep talking about that we need to be relatable on these podcasts, but within reason, we are losing the art of interview etiquette in class. A man of his age and status should know, but yeah, because the president or prime minister shouldn't be talking about fornicating no damn celebrity. But I mean, I got it. You want to come across as relatable, but the problem with politicians is y'all shouldn't be relatable. You should be relatable on policy, but not relatable on the other stuff. We don't want to know y'all out here fornicating. I don't want to have a beer with y'all. That's a problem in America. Y'all want to sit and kiki and have a beer with your president. I don't want to have a beer with the president. I want my president to make sure that everybody got universal health care, that people are making a livable wage, that people can afford to pay their rent, that people can afford to get their kids in good schools and good child care. That's what I want my president to be doing. I don't want to have a fucking beer with him. I got friends for that. Honestly, I see nothing wrong. He may be married, but he still has eyes, and folks in committed relationships still have fantasies. That's kind of how I look at it. Maybe because we're older and we're old school in that way, and that's how we see it. It's like a Trump can't confidant confirm it. Of course, he's dead. Stabby Sabs did a whole video on it. I mean, and I've had people in my DMs sending me messages. They was like, "Yeah, I think Mitch McConnell dead," and his wife went and fled to China. She probably ain't legal. Because he married a whole Ling Ling. I can say that I'm part Asian. So um I believe it, he gone. But look, God don't like ugly. All that shit you did to people, especially to Obama during his campaign, about you gonna make sure he a one-term president. Now look at you. Your brain ain't even working. I tell you, you better be careful what y'all be doing to people out here in these streets. Now, speaking of karma, let's talk about Mr. Lopez. Mario Lopez, that is, I was gonna say Mr. Mita. But anyway, so Mario Lopez is out here in these streets being dragged like the heifer that he is, because the people said that apparently he is a Trump supporter. And he took to social media and said, I'm not political. I don't get into that Trump stuff, which we know was a damn lie because I got receipts. Now, it's funny how they all say that because didn't Dwayne Johnson get his ass handed to him recently because he was somebody he didn't want to get political because people don't really know how to have genuine conversations? Yeah, the other side, the Republican side, y'all don't want to have real, genuine, smart conversations. When we try to sit y'all down and have genuine conversations, understand what your frustrations are, um, y'all don't want to have that conversation. You want to just deliberately be combative because you don't want to hear what's going on from the other side because you've been indoctrinated by Fox News and these other people. The Democrats are the enemy. And anything that we try to like recently, because y'all hatred for Zoran Mamdani. Zoran Mamdani said, keep y'all ACs because it was a scorcher in New York. I'm sure it was in other places. But we was in the triple digits for the past couple of days. Today it rained, which I love, and the fact that it is officially 72 degrees outside right now. When he was telling people to keep they ACs at a certain temperature, I heard that the Department of Energy or whatever the case was erased all this information, which literally was on the website. That was probably from the previous administration because they wanted to be like, well, no, don't listen to him. So anytime somebody deliberately tries to tell you to do something just for your own good, you're going to go against it. Like, wasn't there just another state? It might have been Kentucky, Alabama, one of them places that just voted against raising the minimum wage because y'all been again, clearly y'all like abuse and y'all like living below the poverty line. So you don't want nothing better for yourselves. Or when you tell somebody like lower the AC situation so you can conserve energy, oh no, that you're not gonna tell me what. Okay, so then when your whole neighborhood blacks out and you're sitting in smoldering heat and you have no AC, I don't want to hear shit. Don't you sit up on social media, ask them to set up a whole goddamn GoFundMe so we can send you money to go stay in a hotel overnight because your stupid ass didn't want to listen when we was trying to tell y'all bring down the damn temperature on the AC, which many of the mayors prior to Zoran has told people that. But because it's coming from him, y'all don't want to hear it. So let's call it for what it is. So the Mexican equivalent of plastic tiara, meaning he got a lot of plastic in his damn face because that face ain't natural. I was looking at a picture of him. I was like, why your face look like it's 25, but your neck look like it's 55? Because I see them wrinkles up in there. And usually the Mexicans don't be aging horribly. Y'all got some good melanin up in that skin. But I guess when you side with the side of Trump, you're gonna start aging like him and his people. Because y'all want to be white so bad. Now, after sharing a photo on Instagram at the White House ahead of the June 14th Freedom 250 fight, which was a disaster, along with this whole 250 event thing that they just had, didn't a storm prevent it from happening? So yeah, there was a photo that he took with Dana White because he's friends with him, and he said that. And being featured in an exposing Latino MAGA artist video, which I do have a clip of that, and we're gonna show it in a second. Lopez is speaking out about whether he supports Donald Trump. He said, you need to get your facts straight. This is what he said in a sensitive IG comment per BuzzFeed. In the comment section of the exposing Latino MAGA artist video, I've interviewed Trump many times when he was on The Apprentice, and I didn't attend the White House event. I was in DC shooting a primetime special at the time for CBS debating a civics competition for kids. Lopez then addressed connecting with White ahead of the contentious UFC fight that took place on the White House lawn. Trailer trash. Now, Dana White happens to be a friend of mine, so we got together while in town. Like I said, I'm not a political person, too divisive. I could care less about politics. I care about my family, my community, my culture, my faith. Isn't that what they always gravitate towards to shut y'all down with the thing? When you start saying faith, this is like for sleeper agents, that's like certain buzzwords. You have my family, community, culture, faith. When you start saying those things, oh, they feel like that's gonna be the thing that shuts y'all up. Oh, he's a faith man. He's from the church. You know how the evangelicals like to brainwash a lot of y'all and things of that nature, where they try to indoctrinate a lot of their Christian beliefs and religious beliefs. They're the only people that I know that be out here trying to force their stuff on you. But the rest of us out here mind our damn business. And I hate when they go and say I'm not a political person because didn't Dwayne Johnson say the same thing to, oh, it's too divisive? And it was only divisive because y'all make it divisive. There could be ways that we can come together and have these conversations and realize we have a lot more in common than you realize. But a lot of y'all don't because there's an agenda. There's money to be made in keeping people divided about things, be it political or whatever is going on, socio-economical and all the other things. So he said, God bless you. And Lord, here we go. And have a nice day. But please don't spread misinformation. So now his aforementioned post with White ahead of the fight reads, in town working in D.C. and stopped to visit my guy, Dana White. Apparently he got a little event planned in the White House lawn this Sunday, like you didn't know. So you were trying to set up as this thing and didn't realize the backlash. And on his Instagram, they was going in on him talking about, oh, it looked like you out here still using steroids. People was making comments about he using steroids to maintain his figure, the plastic surgery or the fillers or whatever it is that he uses. So people was going in on him on his own page. I was like, child, I would just make sure I couldn't have any comments put on my page because they just was eating him up. Then he also took, he was seen spotted having a conversation, smiling, cheesing with Linda McMahon, who, you know, was running, it was the Secretary of Education. What the fuck she know about the education department? But she got a job. You know a lot about wrestling because her husband, wasn't her husband Vince McMahon? Or her husband is Vince McMahon? And that's what they hired to be. Well, that's what the president hired to be the U.S. Secretary of Education. And you wonder why our kids are growing up to be even more stupid. So then he said, I'm in New York, man. I'm shooting a movie, he said. A movie must be on Lifetime. When the reporter or that Christian network that Candace Cameron Bure is on, when the reporter asked about Trump, Lopez said, I'm not. I don't think anything. The reporter continued to press, bringing up Spencer Pratt's recent venture into politics, to which Lopez replied, I don't talk politics. It's not my thing. But you like to mingle with people who are engulfed in politics. And just because you don't talk about it, don't necessarily mean you're not indoctrinating or surrounding yourself or following people that agree with your political ideologies. And I'm gonna get to it in a minute of who exactly he is following on social media. I told you I got receipts. So Lopez never explicitly endorsed a political candidate. 10 years ago in May of 2016, during an interview with Trump via Extra TV, he told the then presidential candidate that he was conservative. He said, I'm Latino, happen to also be conservative, a child of Mexican immigrants. And when you initially announced, you did so where some people thought there was some harsh rhetoric, maybe disappointed some Hispanics. How do you gain their support and trust? This is what he asked. And Trump said, I know all about your heritage and respect it gratefully. Well, you got a funny way of showing it, because how many Mexicans has he deported so far in his second term? And how he specifically went after them, calling them rapists and murderers. My relationship with Hispanics is fantastic. I know so many are friends. They buy, Lord, here we go. They buy apartments from me. They rent apartments from me. I have so many employees that are Hispanic. They are incredible people. And the way that people are going to love me is that I'm going to produce jobs like nobody's ever produced jobs. Well, I don't know where them jobs are because I heard like this has been the lowest job creation turn point in a while. Like it's been a low number of jobs being created. He's not creating anything. Only thing you're creating is chaos. So we said we're gonna take our jobs back from China and we're gonna take them back from Mexico. We're gonna have tremendous jobs for oh Lord Jesus Christ. We're gonna have tremendous jobs. This is how he always talks. So um nobody's buying your bullshit, but I do want to play out this clip of this girl who was talking about the whole thing who exposed Mario Lopez for the fraud that he is. So we're gonna get into that clip and then we're gonna come back and we're gonna talk. Please hold.
My series where I expose Latino mega businesses that profit off La Raza, where you send me the tip and I do my research so that way you stay informed. And for today's episode, we have something different, so grab your popcorn y vamos a comenzar. A lot of you have been asking me to expose those that are on the screen and we also listen to. Why not give it a try? So for today's episode, we have Mario Lopez. If you didn't know who he was, he hosts On with Mario, which you can listen to in any radio station across the United States and in streaming services like iHeart. And as you can see on his story, he attended this event. Of course, you can go find the post on his Instagram page where he announces that he is going to be attending. And if we focus on his following, of course, we have After the event finished, they caught him leaving, and so they interviewed him, and this is what he had to say.
I'm not. I just got done working. I just got done working right here, buddy. No, I understand. I just wonder what you think about Trump. Good. I don't think anything. I think I got to go get some dinner. How about Spencer Pratt? What do you think about him dropping? Politics. That's not my thing.
He doesn't do politics, and that's not his thing. Are you sure, Mario?
Aquí estoy con señor Trump y estamos hablando de la elección.
Gracias, Mario. Gracias.
Jesus Christ.
I thought you said you didn't do politics. I mean, you have Donald Trump, and then you're talking about the elections. Huh? But you know how like all MAGAs have like the same vocabulary and they use the same arguments? Like, just listen to this.
After immigrants, I'm first generation. You know, but happy to say they came here the right way and they're hardworking folks.
I mean, am I right?
And when you say the right way, that's basically code for, well, we did everything properly. And once we get through the door, you already know how them selfish MFers do. It don't be, and it don't be just Hispanics, be black people, but mostly Hispanics. Where it's like, well, we made it up the ladder. We worked hard. We did all this other stuff. And there's that illusion that if you work hard enough, you too can achieve things. We all know that turns out to be a bullshit and a lie anyway. That may have worked during the Gen X era. That may have worked during the Boomer era. That may have even worked during the silent era. But it ain't working for Gen X. A lot of the Gen Xers is not working for a lot. Well, maybe a lot of the Gen Xers. It's not working for Gen Z. It's not working for Gen Alpha. It's not working for millennials. They're the ones who are really starting to feel the effects of pulling everybody made it through the door, made a lot of money, and now you know you can retire at a certain age, and everybody else is out here struggling to be able to make ends meet. And when you say, well, we did things the right way, and it's sort of like, oh, well, now that I made it up the ladder, I'm gonna pull that ladder up, and you're gonna have to figure out how you're gonna get to the next level. Whereas we all had to work hard because we're first generation. That's the shit I hate from people like him. And for him to sit up here and say that he don't endorse the president, what the fuck was that? You literally told people to go out and support Trump in Spanish. So for you to sit up here and try to act like you're not affiliated, or you're not taking a side, or you don't get into politics because it's divisive, it's clear what side you lean on. And it's fine. It's okay. If you voted for Trump, vote for Trump. But here's the thing: when the shit hits the fan and people start to see the man for what he is, that he's one of the most corrupt presidents we've ever had in American history, that he's a criminal. He's been hit with over 30 charges of, federal charges. When all these things have been pointed out, you don't get to jump ship. You don't get to jump off the Titanic. Know that you're gonna sink with it once that iceberg hits it. Stay on board. Be loyal. Don't run because now the shit is hitting the fan because things have gotten too hot. Stick with what you did. This is who you voted for. Stick it out through the end. But they don't want to do that. They want to be able to have their cake and eat it. But we know when it comes to people like Mario Lopez, it's capitalism before morals at the end of the day. But you're the only one at the end of the day that got to look in the mirror and deal with those. But anyway, I just want to say that real quick, and then we can get back to what she had to say.
Right, or am I right? So Mario, are you or are you not in support of the community? Because to me, it don't look like it. Tell Google to change your supporting the immigrant community for MAGA, because the math ain't mathing. Please remember to like, comment, and share my video.
The math ain't mathing, like she said. Somebody said, if I hear I don't do politics, I immediately know you aren't my people. Absolutely. Mario is an opportunist. Anything for relevance. He peaked at Bayside High. Ooh, y'all shady. Yeah, it was like that. Once Saved by the Bell got canceled, he had to figure out how to keep that career going. Another person said, I've been calling out Mario for years. He had a DM exchange with him and triggered him. MAGA bro ended up blocking me. Because, he don't have the mental capacity to really talk politics. 9 times out of 10, when these men, they're so fucking stupid, you can eat them up, trust and believe, with facts. And it's like, it's kryptonite to them. Somebody said, I heard his family did not come here legally. Grandfather was deported. Look into it. Ooh. Another person said, I just saw a post from BuzzFeed and he responded to your video. I wish he would on being MAGA. Another person said, I stopped liking him when his VH1 documentary, they said Mario grew up in the mean streets of Chula Vista. There are no mean streets in Chula Vista. Another person said, he blocks everyone who calls him a vendido. Ooh. Well, if the chancleta fit, the whole they did it the right way is only a phrase used so that they can try and justify being community sellouts. Another person said, damn, they tagged him in. And Mario Lopez, seriously, not engaging in politics is engaging in politics. I said that. It's like you say you're not engaging. That means you're engaging. You engage in other ways. I don't mean that you have to flat out say, I endorse so and so. People think you have to give an exact interpretation when it comes to when you say you're endorsing somebody. The people you follow, the people you're friends with, the people you follow on social media, I mean, the people you're friends with, the people you socialize and you hang on, you associate with, that is you taking a stance politically. When you're following Donald Trump, when you're following Donald Trump Jr., when you're following other conservative politicians, that kind of says that you agree with their ideologies. The fuck you talking about? You think by deliberately coming out and saying something that doesn't mean that you agree with like what? But that ain't all. So where was I? Okay, so then let's read one more. Did I finish this one? It said, you may not like politics, yet politics will continue to use you as a token. Unfortunately, you will not see yourself as one until your token is cashed and your use is depleted. And that happens a lot. Once these people have had use of you, they don't care about you. They discard you. But it's all about trying to be a part of that club. Y'all remember that Golden Girls episode where, not y'all about to bring up the Golden Girls episode, because I remember that. He was an undocumented student. Did his ass get deported in the episode? So maybe the episode was traumatic for him, and it's kind of it's a trigger. And somebody said, 30-year-old crush just died. I'm like, child, where you been? That boy always been MAGA, whether he want to admit it or not. But last but certainly not least, let me just wrap this up. So, Mario, you full of shit. Nobody's buying a word of what it is that you're saying. I feel like you're trying to abandon ship because or abort because Trump isn't popular even among his base. Is why, because if you look at the poll numbers, he is like it's going down like the Titanic. I just feel like you're just trying to distance yourself from being affiliated with him. And yeah, you put capitalism before any kind of morals, and nothing angers me more than fake Christians like him who will throw the terms family and faith around like it exonerates you from the accusations and observations. And we already went through, all the things of who he follows and stuff, but one of the things I wanted to bring up was Tanika Ray, who worked with Mario on Extra during multiple stints between 2004 and 2019. And she went on social media and went in and let have and basically exposed Mario. And of course, I got receipts. So hold on, let me bring that up. She said this. She said, well, I was his co-host and I can confirm this is true. It's unfortunate, but glad the truth is out. Maybe it will encourage him to think about it. Happy then again. To think about it. But then again, he's a capitalist first. Anyway, happy Juneteenth. And this was in June when she said this. And then said, this is his journey. He knows, well, I guess depending on who she was talking to, I don't know who she was talking to there, unless she tagged his name. But I'm like, why would you blur his name out? We already know his name is Mario Lopez on Instagram. So she said, this is his journey. He knows I don't agree and he doesn't care. People are in control of their choices. He is Mexican and MAGA. And though it's really confusing to me, it's his life. He is happy with his choice. I pray people wake up because this isn't it. So there you have it. What more evidence we need for the fact that Mario Lopez is a maggot? So yeah, I say all this to say you can fool whoever you want to fool with this foolishness, but you ain't fooling me. So Mario out here trying to deny he a damn maggot, but we know otherwise. So look, if his career end up drying up because people don't want to fuck with him, he can all go over there and do a movie for Ben Shapiro like Jonathan Majors or Uwe Boll needs horrible actors in his horrible movies, which that Citizen Vigilante movie, it was shout out to Adam Does Movies. The way he went in on that damn movie. I'm still laughing about it. his review of the movie was probably better than the movie itself. But definitely check out his review. But anyway, so Uber Bowl probably need more actors in his horrible ass films. Or you can go over there on that American whatever studio that Candace Cameron Bure is working on, or the one that produced that George Washington movie. So you got all these little Christian films or whatever the case is. You can go and work over there on that. They could use some horrible actors and they horrible shit. So yeah, I want to hear from y'all. Let me know what your thoughts on this story in the comments down below. You know a drag queen named I Respect Her. It was Iris Spector, and then put it together. I respect her. It said I respect him a little bit if he actually stood on business and owned it. That's why I said if you're gonna stand on something, stand on it. Don't be secretive about your affiliations, and then when people call you out on it, I don't get no politics. Politics is not my thing. Yeah, damn. Yes, it is. That was the last thing Mario Lopez. What was the last thing Mario Lopez accomplished after Saved by the Bell? Well, I was gonna say he did play Greg Louganis in the TV movie, which I was living for. Yeah, morally bankrupt and less than smart. That I'm not a political person response has definitely become short code for I'm a absolutely. Yeah, they all say it. It's like they all follow the same damn script. The short code for I'm a Trumper, therefore a sellout to humanity. So I know I should be ashamed of myself. And it's like, well, that's what I said. If you really truly believe in the ideologies of Trump and all that other stuff, stand on it, own it, be in the cult like the rest of these fools. The 20 some odd percent that's still holding on for dear life. I care about my family, my community, my culture, my faith, all of which are affected by politics that he refuses to have an opinion. And that's why he peaked 30 years ago. Exactly. He said, but is an example of half of the Latino community. They are socially conservative leaning and associate with these white folks. So, absolutely. And that's why a country of gringos beat Mexico in the World Cup yesterday, and now they're disqualified. There are so many Latinos that love to chase whiteness, looking like not Edgar Chow. Speaking of which, Argentina was showing a racist colors the other day too. I saw that video online. They said that's why, and I'm like, didn't Argentina get swallowed up in an earthquake? Y'all better tread lightly. They said that's why black folks said we are done. It's up though. Yeah, agreed. And that's why a lot of people was like, why aren't black people upset and outraged by everything that's happening? Because we tired. That's why. We tired of the bullshit. We getting tired of your shit. We've been trying to tell y'all. We've been tired of cleaning up y'all mess. So now it's like, you want to know something? If this is what y'all want so much, y'all have at it. We just going to continue to mind our business. We're going to go about our day and we're going to just be joyful, joyful, joy. We adore thee, as the song goes. Words don't matter, your actions and your associations. Absolutely. People think that just because you say it, I mean, no, I don't go by what people say. I go by their actions. Okay. That's what I said. Didn't Argentina get swallowed by an earthquake and they was out here being racist towards this black soccer player? And the girl that was screaming, she was like this the whole time, speaking whatever racist shit that she was saying. I'm like, bitch, you just want a moment. I ain't gonna go Jasmine Kennedy on you going to my this is your moment, have it. But she had her moment. Just don't engage, because these bitches be looking for a moment because they want to go viral. They don't even care if you beat the shit out of them. They just want that moment. I was like, okay, this is what your mama didn't give you enough hugs at home. Not to mention Argentina house not child. Of course they did. Not to be a football fanatic, but I really hope Norway wins the World Cup, just because that's the motherland of black metal music. I don't think a lot of people know that. Yay, good for you and Miss Hillary. All right, y'all. Oh, damn, I forgot to do my final call. Okay, y'all. So we got 3 more topics left. So before we get to our final 3 topics of the evening, if you could please do me a solid, hit that like button, smash the notification bell, hit subscribe, hype the channel, do all the things to help push this little show that could out into the internet stratosphere. Please and thank you. Now, without further ado, let's get into some Drag Race tea. And let's talk about that mess that transpired over the weekend. Because they did an episode where I guess they were trying to do drag queen story hour or whatever, and the girls had to get personal with things that happened in their life. Here's the thing with that whole story. The table read was better than the actual thing. And I made it as far as like the first two stories, and I fell asleep on the rest. When I woke up was basically when Akira and her auntie Kennedy Davenport was in the bottom two. And shout out to Kennedy Davenport because there was a post that I put online that wait, hold on. That she responded to. And I was gagging over that because it was the whole fuck my drag situation. And she responded and was like, she was loving how this meme is getting so much attention. I'm trying to find it over on the social media on my whole situation. But you know, when it comes to me, I post so much stuff on my damn channel. I mean, on my Facebook page that it's hard to keep up with some of the stuff that I posted, which can be annoying at times for me. I mean, I don't care if I flood the internet with stuff, but when it comes to me trying to find stuff, it just becomes difficult. Oh, maybe I should go through my whole picture situation. Maybe I could find it there. So that definitely helps with that too. I don't know why I'd be sitting there trying to scroll through my whole computer looking for stuff and I can't find anything. Oh, I got it. Yes, yes. Okay, so without further ado, I know I was like it was taking me a moment to get into this whole thing. So of course there's some drama going on between Silky Nutmeg Ganache and Akira Davenport. And apparently there was some drama that happened between them, I think maybe a year or something ago, where Akira wound up calling Silky a thief and things of that nature. They didn't really get into it on the show. I was upset that y'all got rid of Kennedy because it was something like, yeah, they're not speaking or whatever the case is. And Akira made a comment and or said something other when I was beating a face and Silky gave her this look like that or whatever. And maybe what they're hoping is why they're keeping Akira around, because to me, I like Akira. She's a good drag performer. But when it comes to getting personal and doing like acting challenge, whatever, she still is weak at that. And I think maybe what it is they probably want to keep her around so they can try to see if they can strum up some drama between these two and then work it out in front of the cameras and give us some grist for the mill. I'm still upset over the fact that we don't have Morgan McMichaels in the semifinals. Y'all did her dirty again, just like y'all did Kennedy dirty again. Because that other Kennedy, Jasmine Kennedy, should not have made it to the semifinals. And I stand on that. And I don't give a fuck who feelings I heard was saying that. I just do not think she should have been there. She's on the show, I guess, because she's being messy and she's good for TV. And that's why they keeping her around. She likes to be a busybody up in everybody's damn business and don't know how to shut the fuck up and listen. Just like what she did on her previous season. But I guess now that she's on this thing. Look, I already said before I didn't even like the idea. Y'all had four of the girls in bracket 3 in in the semifinals. That was some bullshit. Because no shade, Sam Starr shouldn't have made it either, but that's just me. So RuPaul's Drag Race has given fans excellent reality TV for years, as y'all know. So, Akira Davenport and Silky Nutmeg Ganache have very similar drag race experiences. The two were finalists on season 11 and competed on All Star 6 together. So, you know, they have a tight knit bond. They have a bit of herstory. The duo became fast friends as they entered the workroom on both seasons. But they had a public falling out in June of 2025. Now, then they start filming Drag Race around that time. The last season, because you know it's 2026. They filmed that a while ago. So why did they have a falling out? I would have been like, what did Silky do? What did Silky do? Remember when they did that with the other girl? Um Willem. So the basic was about things are heating up between two Drag Race fan favorites, and it's happening in real time. Akira and Silky are caught in a public feud after Akira posted a series of explosive tweets calling Silky out for betrayal and theft. You can't be a reverend and a thief. It was heartbreaking to experience from someone you considered a sister, but the full story shall come out today. I've held my tongue and saved face for her far too long. She doesn't have talent. She's just to laugh at on TV. Yeah, these were tweets that she put out there that I was reading. And the fans was gagging with Akira saying that. And then she said that she's going to drop the full receipts. The timeline hasn't known peace since. But now, and then it says both queens are rumored to be the next All-Star season. And this Instagram post was posted 53 weeks ago before the season, which was June 29th, 2025. So, it's not that hard to keep things on the wraps because the stuff about the queens who make some of the show always ends up coming out. So she said that the receipts and everything was going to come out, but what are you talking about? So apparently some people believe that Silky took a TV that belonged to Akira or something or another. I'm still kind of confused of what ignited their beef or whatever the case is, or why these two aren't close friends. They're basically saying that Silky doesn't have talent. And don't get me wrong, Silky is entertaining and was good TV, but I do agree. Her looks, a lot of the drag that she was coming in, she looked real sloppy. But it was like, yeah, because you got this big girl on the show, she was something that was kind of like being used to laugh at. So I do agree in that standpoint, but to say that she's not talented, I don't know if I agree with that. Because I've seen Silky perform when I lived out in LA, and she definitely performs now. So, like I said, they did elaborate on their beef in the confessional chair. And of course, just like in this tweet, Akira didn't go in extreme detail as to what started their fight, but she made it clear that she has no intentions on being friends with Ganache ever again. So, what I do hope, and it might have happened already, like if we'll get the real tea about what happened, because if I'm not mistaken, I do know that Kennedy Davenport was on Roscoe's, which I believe is currently airing as we do this up, as I take on this story. I do believe Kennedy was on there. I don't necessarily know if Akira was also on there, but if she is, because the only clip I've been seeing floating around where Kennedy Davenport was reading Jasmine Kennedy down. I don't know if she's necessarily on that one, but if she is, I hope that the queens asked her, okay, so why are you and Silky beefing? Because there's this drama. You said things about her on social media, and I hate when y'all do that. Y'all go and y'all say things on social media, and then we're sitting there like, sis, what happened? And y'all leaving it vague. Just like I just saw a post from Candy Muse, where she was on Twitter talking about she's done with Fire Island. And I'm sitting there like, what happened? We gonna try to find out what transpired. Because I remember when I went to Fire Island with Sailor Mermaid, this is probably like what, 2 years ago, a year ago, 2 years, no, it might have been 2 years ago. And I saw Candy Muse, Tsunami Muse. I seen a bunch of the Drag Race girls out of drag out there. So I'm like, what transpired that made you not want to be dealing with anyone? So yeah, this was the picture that Kennedy Davenport responded to on on my Facebook page. And I'm glad I ain't opened it because something popped up that shouldn't have. I was like, I ain't trying to get banned on here. But where is it? So yeah, so some of the people in regards to this whole episode, because what I said was that All-Stars 11 elimination was some BS. Why does Rue keep playing in Joey's face? She was the funniest, in my opinion, by not choosing her to win. I also think the table read was better than the horrible challenge. I also love Kennedy going in on that other Kennedy, Jasmine Kennedy, who she called Messy, and which you'll see when the new episode of Roscoe's Viewing Party premieres on Monday. And so one person said that was the worst challenge I think I've ever seen. Another person said Raider Queen has never helped the black queens. Every time they introduce Raider Queen, the black queens end up in the bottom when they didn't even do the worst. How the queens and production work together during Raider Queen, it gives white twink popularity contest. And a couple of people laughed in it. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that because Mikey Meeks was in the bottom in regards of the whole Raider Queen, and she was pissed in regards to the whole situation. But what happened? Mikey showed you bitches because she ended up winning season 18. So I don't necessarily know if I agree with that. One person said the Faint won the lip sync. Another person said Rue to Mikey Meeks. That Raider Queen bottom two was sabotage. Also, Rue, let's bring Raider Queen back. Another person said the drama between Akira and Silky would make more sense because Kennedy is an older queen. Hmm. You said, not somebody said it's chocolate. The other person said when Akira won the lip sync and Kennedy reacted with wow. Yeah, because it was like, we don't agree with that. And then another person said, totally agree. I only found Joey and Crystal funny. Crystal Death on more funnier with more ease. Then there's the mess of Kennedy going home. Was shocked. Lip sync was way better than Jasmine and Sam's double save. I've grown to love Kennedy, and she is always a true entertainer. Unfortunately, she did what Rue always said not to do. Don't fuck it up. Kennedy fucked up the Maxi challenge. No worries. She'll eventually win Drag Race Earth versus Mars Alien Royale. Okay, that was the first time I read that one. That was funny. Um, where's the now I'm trying to find the Kennedy Davenport one because it's I found it. So she said so Kennedy Davenport put LOL. Wait, actually, I could probably bring it up for y'all now that I found it and I got rid of that other thing. Because I'm like, people, not you sending news in my thing. But anyway, okay. So it's right here. Kennedy Davenport, LOL, and then another one. I love all the love. This means so much. So, sometimes I be forgetting that sometimes when I be posting stuff on how many followers and things I have and friends I have on Facebook, that things spread out publicly to other people, and I be thinking, oh, they ain't seeing this. So anyway, so yeah, so shout out to Kennedy Davenport. Hopefully we'll see you down the line in the future, but this is just ridiculous. Like, how many times you gonna keep coming on this show and they want to keep playing in your face? But look, I already know who's gonna be the two that makes it all the way to the finale, and I'm not gonna spoil it. Just like I knew who was gonna make it, who was the ball that was picked in the semifinals, and it turned out to be Joey J, who, of course, I knew, and I ain't lying because Onyx and I was, and we stated basically was like, what's up? So I be knowing stuff, and then somebody asked me, how do you know who's gonna be in it? Because I think they picked Joey J, Akira, and oh my god, how I forget their damn name, Crystal, as being in the top three. And I said two of them out of the three you got correct. And they went and hit me. I said I ain't gonna tell you which one, but two out of the three of them is your top two. And he went and was like, how do you know? Inbox me. I said, because I have sources. I know people who work in the whole drag race realm, and I find out stuff before everybody else. I just don't want to spoil it because y'all get mad when I come on here and spoil stuff. So I keep it to myself. But anyway, so I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story regarding that last episode of Drag Race? What were your overall thoughts? What do you think about somebody said it should have been a double Shantae. I'm like, that defeats the purpose. Like, we're at a point now where you got to know all the girls in the three brackets. Now that we're in the semifinals, people they gotta start making cuts. We can't start saving people. Like, that's not how that works. It will work if it's a regular season, but this is the semifinals now. They gotta start eliminating people. So what did you think about the overall episode? Do you think that Kennedy Davenport should have went home, and do you think that Akira was kept because the production feels like they could get a little more drama out of Akira and Silky's beef? So whatever y'all thoughts are on this matter, let me know in the comments down below. I hope the halftime show was streamed somewhere free. Most of the games, the World Cup is only. Well, you know what? Most likely somebody will record it and post it up online. Just like we already got the TikTok interview that she did with Stuart Price and Lola already up on YouTube. So I'm sure that it will end up on YouTube somewhere and we'll be able to watch it. This challenge frustrated me so much because it just shows that we are in a literary crisis. It was like nails on a chalkboard to sit through a bunch of drag queens try to be okay. Let's have them read a book to some damn kids. That should be the challenge. These two get into it at the beginning of this week's episode when they're at the table waiting for RuPaul, and I can't wait. If Jasmine wasn't a part of the Vegas show, yeah, that's why a lot of people think that was the reason why she was chosen because of the Vegas show. It was. Well, we'll have to see. Just found out singer Lauren Bennett. Yeah, I told about that on my show earlier. I mean, on my website earlier. Lauren Bennett. The only song I know is that one she did with LMFAO. If I were Kennedy, this would be the last time I stepped onto that run. Okay, that's what I said. I'd be done after this. I mean, she could still perform and still get her flowers elsewhere, but at this point, I'm done with. I'm like, I'm gonna be done with RuPaul. If y'all gonna keep playing in my face this way, I'm done competing. After this, I mean, but then she's a pageant girl. But they need to create a drag show. Speaking of pageant girls, whatever happened to that pageant show that Naysha Lopez said that she was a part of? Didn't they film something? And she said that she was gonna be on that show. What happened to that? After this week's challenge win, I want the gayest queen to win the whole season. Okay, the first homosexual to win. Yeah, y'all kept playing in their face, and it just goes to show the fandom and the producers love them. So, all right, now speaking of Drag Race, uh, let's talk about Suzie Toot. Suzie Toot in your boot. T. Anyway, so let's talk about Suzie Toot because she did an interview recently with Ricky Cornish, and she decided to go in on Rhonda Satan. In the process, you know, that old queen out in Florida. So, yeah, let's get into that as I look for the picture. So, as a fan favorite queen from RuPaul's Drag Race season 17 and the winner of Lollapalooza, the talented star has taken over the world in the past year. Starring alongside other beloved queens, Corey King and Lydia Butthole Collins, Toot has toured across the globe on the campy But Toot King tour and performed at sold-out venues in front of thousands of adoring fans. Now Toot is ready to headline her own tour with a new one-woman cabaret show, Suzie with a Z. Okay, that's cute. Inspired by her icons, Liza Minnelli and Lucille Ball, the theater queen will tap her way through vaudeville and Broadway herstory as she blends comedy, glamour, and high-concept drag with her powerhouse vocals. Said, this is what I was hoping to do after Drag Race. The show is going to feature a lot of songs that people aren't going to know. It's everything Suzie Toot is. People are going up for Bing Crosby. I've saved the world if a young queer child now knows who Liza Minnelli is, Toot tells Out. Well, here's the thing. Before I get to the rest of this, I love the fact that, yeah, Suzie Toot is like your typical New York performer, which is like, yeah, they take on these old stars like Liza Minnelli and Lucille Ball and so many other icons of those times and performs performs those songs. And the fact that she sings and she dances, that definitely is gonna, play into her strengths. Now, Drag Race, and I love the fact that she actually went out and performed with other people such as Corey King and Lydia B. Collins. I don't even know if they still hunching, by the way. But I love the fact that y'all did like a little triple touring thing together from three girls from the same season, going out performing and getting your lives and making your money, and you getting that whole grind of performing in front of an audience out there. So that way, when you're ready to step out on your own, you can do that. So Drag Race fans predicted Toot's world domination once she tap danced to her own original song on season 17's talent show. After securing a top 2 placement, Toot won the first lip sync of the season against Jewel Sparkles to Katy Perry's Woman's World, which catapulted her to overnight sensation. Saying, ever since I heard the song Woman's World, my life has changed forever. I think a lot of people could say that. I can't believe everything that's happened. Who would have guessed that when we got Woman's World on our iPods, that would be a defining career beginning moment for me? Now, Toot's schedule is certainly packed for the foreseeable future, but fans are already manifesting her return to Drag Race on an upcoming All-Star season. After all, three of her season 17 sisters, Lydia Butthole Collins, Sam Starr, and Lucky Stars, have already returned for All Stars, so Toot's return could happen sooner rather than later. However, she doesn't want to compete with her longtime frenemy, Corey King, on another season of Drag Race. So I really think that we're going to see season 17 girls on All Stars for the next 10 years. I want to do it very badly. I want to stomp. If Corey King appeared, that would be the end of my life. I don't think I could do it. I would immediately quit at the site. I'll have my name on a lipstick ready in my back pocket. If she enters after or before me, boom, right back out the door. There's no denying that Toot represents queer joy at a pivotal time in history. Now, as anti-LGBTQ plus legislation continues to sweep the nation, the fan favorite queen is encouraging Republicans to put down the pen and pick up a wig instead. She said to politicians, to Ron DeSantis, to monsters who are ruining a great country, give it up, girl. You can be free. You can put giant balloon titties in your shirt and live your gay life. It's okay. Put on the balloon titties and change your life. Shout out to you, Brian Noam. So, Brian Noam's still out here talking about he want to be a woman and wearing fake boobs and all this other stuff. Child, you couldn't tell me they're in the closet big enough for him to kick open and come out of. Because Brian Noam definitely gives homosexual tease, or maybe trans woman tease, and then ain't enough plastic surgery that Christy can get that's going to make him still want to maintain his manliness. Now, Suzie with a Z, if y'all care, to go check it out. It kicks off on July 8th in New York City, so that's in 2 days. So definitely go check out Suzie Toot. And shout out to her for throwing shade at the Republicans, because they could definitely use some shade in their life. Or stop hating on the queer community, but secretly be out here doing homosexual things. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story in regards of what Suzie 2 had to say? You're looking forward to seeing her new show and what she had to say about Republicans. So whatever your thoughts are on this matter, and would you like to also see her on a season of All Stars? So whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. Nature is too concerned with cussing out Derek Barry to be producing any kind of TV show. Nature has been eliminated in three-fifths of the episodes she's competed in. I was about to say, did she say something shady about Derek recently? Where was I? Or you just pulling from something that she did a long time ago and incorporating that as a read? Because I'd be like, look, what did I miss? Because I know she has said something about Derek in the past. But anyway, all right, so let's get into our final topic. And let me ask y'all a bit of a question. Do y'all think straight people should party at homosexual establishments? So I came across this clip over there on this podcast called By Latin Men. And I think this is also the show that I knew of Kevin Ortega Rojas before he started getting more into the political stuff, because he has a show called Here's Why Kevin. He has appeared a lot of times on the Ebro Lauren Rosenberg podcast. Whenever political stuff goes on, they invite him on the show. So I've been seeing him out about. He's also a little pocket gay, but he's also a cutie patootie as well. Because pocket gay because he's short. But nevertheless, he said this and people was getting mad at him over saying like he does not feel that straight people should come to gay establishments. And I'm gonna tell you why I agree with him on certain points, but also, well, I don't agree, but he also commented in the comments as well. So we'll get to that and we'll come back and we will talk. Please hold.
I am so sick of seeing straight women in gay bars.
He really
Why
pissed.
the are you here? The last time I went to Boxers with Anthony, a Sprinter van
Yeah.
of 8 girls let out right in front of the club, and they got in the back of the line.
But
Like,
Kevin literally couldn't hold it in the line. He's like, why the f*** are they here? And I'm like, bitch.
I just don't think that people comprehend the way that you take a space that is meant for a group of people and you make it unsafe. Because what happens a lot of times is that these girls get really comfortable. They make this their spot. And now Justin, her boyfriend, is here suddenly on a random Saturday night. And some guy, because he's at a gay club, winks at Justin. And Justin needs to prove that he's straight and masculine. And he punches someone. And now this spot is no longer safe.
I feel like you can't be doing to others what you hate that they do to you. That doesn't make sense to me.
What?
Because like you wouldn't like it as a gay man to be kicked out of a straight club.
I would never go to a straight club.
People be like, why the f*** are you here? Like, why are you here? Like, go to the gay club.
If I ended up by accident at a straight club and someone was like, you should go to the gay club, I'd be like, can you point me in the right direction? Get me out of here.
I'm to both. I've done the straight sports bars with my straight friends. I've done gay establishments. The thing with me is I can intermingle in both worlds. But if I want to also do the whole gay establishment, I mean, like straight, like a sports bar type situation, which I have with my straight friends, I go to gay sports bars. We have Jim in Chelsea. I've gone there. I haven't been there in a long time. My friend Diego is a bartender. I need to go visit him. It's been years since I've seen him. But you know, I agree with him at a certain point. Like, the one thing that irritates me about a lot of the girls that come to our establishments, I do feel a lot of times the girls will treat gay men like they're zoo animals. So you're showing up to I ain't been to boxes in eons, so I wouldn't even know what the hell's going on up in there. But when I would go to certain establishments and the girls be up in there, as long as and I've been going to clubs for a long time. When I used to go to Splash on a Friday, we'd be seeing the girls up in there. I wasn't that bothered with them, and it was probably because the girls were respectful. The girls were respectful. They wasn't up in there just being catty, messy, or just like gawking, whatever the case is. The times that I've had problems with girls coming to gay establishments is places like the Cock. Why are y'all up in here? Why are y'all up in the Cock? Now, for those of you who don't know what the Cock is, it's an establishment where you can have a drink and lounge and kiki or whatever. But we also have areas where you can do a little yum bouncy when nature calls. So it does become like a back room at a certain point. On the weekends, we have the lower level. On the upper level, they have a little curtain area where you can go back, and they have the bar, and then they have the back area. Because a friend of mine used to do a party there, but now he's in Florida. But when I don't know, I haven't been in the Conk in the month of Sundays, chair. So I need to get up out the house. I mean, besides the fact of me going to work and then coming home, I need to hang out a little more. I haven't been doing that as of late. But I don't like the fact when y'all have women coming up in those establishments where men want to congregate with each other, and I got a little peen in my mouth, and I'm doing my thing, and all of a sudden I got tuna salad sitting next to me. It's like, ma'am, no, out. Vamos. Like, get out of here, sis. I don't want to see you sitting there watching me while I'm doing what I'm doing, bitch. I mean, unless you want pointers to take home to your man, I can kindly show you. But other than that, it's like when we have a lot of times gay men want to be in their own little environment, and we want to do our own thing without you all coming in trying to yuck our yum. Because we've had to create our safe spaces because we don't feel safe being ourselves anywhere else. That has always been the point of having the gay bars and this, that, and the other. So girls, you can come to our spot. Just be respectful and be mindful and aware of when you come in our space, you're a guest. This is not some place for y'all to just go, woo, yes, I'm like, yes, y'all work out. Like, what are you doing? Like, first of all, bring that 15 down to a 5. You're doing too much. You don't need to be doing all this, you don't need to do all of that. You can talk to us regular. And so just be respectful of our establishments is all we're saying. But what the people said in the comments is this. One person said, dude in New Jersey has no understanding of why gay clubs exist historically. Gay clubs, black clubs, etc., are spaces for people with marginalized identities to go and experience safety and joy because the other more mainstream spaces are filled with prejudice, discrimination, and the policing of non-normative bodies. So when people that could be in the spaces created and maintained for their comfort invade our spaces, yeah, we're annoyed. So Anthony Palumbo, well, hey, that's me. That was the guy in the jersey. I absolutely understand why safe spaces were created and are still needed today for marginalized communities. But in this discussion, I gave my opinion as a bisexual man who happens to have many straight female and male friends that would never go to an LGBTQ club or LGBTQ event or space and act a fool. Also, while you agree on how problematic straight clubs have historically been to our community, I do not agree with no straight women being allowed in gay clubs. You have two groups: the women who are, I believe it's an ally, go with a friend who is part of the community, respect the space, and just have a good time. The other group is the straight women who just impose themselves on the space because they feel they are entitled to be there, get blacked out drunk, get very touchy with the gay men, and make it uncomfortable and therefore unsafe. I don't think this is a one size fit all topic. Well, that I will agree with him on that because that's why I said there's the ones that go that are respectful of our spaces. They like to go because they get to have fun. They ain't got to worry about men hitting on them. Some of the girls like being around the gay men. They don't want to have to worry about some dude trying to grab their ass, whatever the case is. They're amongst their people. They can feel like I could just have fun, drink, watch Drag Race if it's on the screen, and not be bothered by some gross ass man because I'm not trying to get hit on for the night. I just want to have fun. Just want to go out and not deal with some shit. So another person said, I just had this conversation last week with a good friend who is staff member at a gay bar. I frequent gay bars and clubs. There is a big lack of understanding with personal space, manners, and also the whipping of hair, the screaming. Sometimes it feels like entitlement. Skipping at the bar. The only one time I got into a heated argument was with a girl at the bar. My bottom line is mindfulness. Yes, all are welcome if they abide with the culture of the space. And then, of course, Kevin Ortega Rojas had to jump in and defend himself. He said, OMG, put your pitchforks down, y'all. I clearly do not mean no straight women could ever be allowed inside a gay bar. But if you're a group of women there for a bachelorette party or to gawk at the gay men or bother the drag queens and try to get on stage, if you don't realize that you are a guest here, stay away. So, everybody was going in and he was giving his opinion. It was like, look, he has a right to feel how he feels. And I do agree with that. I just like, you know what? You women can come into our establishments as long as y'all understand to respect the environment and to respect what's going on in our stuff. Know that you are a guest, that you have to understand that this ain't some entitlement shit. Y'all ain't entitled to a gay establishment. This is our stuff for a reason. And if you can't come into our establishments and be respectful of the environment, then stay your ass home or go somewhere else and be a nuisance there. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story? Do you think that straight people should party at gay clubs? But it is a nuanced conversation. I definitely want to hear from y'all regarding that. So yeah, let me know what your thoughts on this story in the comments down below. Not no, 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 and no. Ever since we opened some of our spaces, we have to dilute certain things to make. Child, I ain't diluting shit. I'm gonna be myself up in my establishment. And if a bitch got a problem, I said, sis, you on my turf. You know what the door is. I'll be ready to read somebody. Certain establishments you shouldn't bring them to. Absolutely. And I gave an example. Don't bring them to a sex party, chair. And you said, I still got to take you to Commando at the Hush bar. I think you'll like it there. Speaking of which, I need to go to the Eagle. I haven't been there in a month of Sundays. To be honest, there really is no such thing as a straight club. But that is true, because I've known many a time, child, I've been a straight establishment and got hit on. So the boys be out. It don't matter the establishment. We clock each other. Just like I got clocked the other day coming home from the store, the Chinese restaurant, my little short shorts. He said, but when gays come into such spaces, they usually know they're so outnumbered, therefore usually don't become so obvious or obnoxious. Also, to add that many gay nightlife is already shrinking in places. That is true, especially Black and brown ones. We don't have much spaces for us to wind down and socialize. Oh, Red Eye is another club you would definitely. Well, yeah, a friend of mine owns it, Daniel Ardicchio. He owns Red Eye. Like you said about the whore. Due to the nature of the space, females should not be in some areas. And I've had that problem before where I've been in the back room and handling my business and a bitch be up in there. I'm like, "Oh, the fuck you doing back here?" Gay males, they can't. Oh, yeah, that's another thing, too. You faggots need to stop bringing these broads up in there because I feel like y'all do it too. To be, oh, I want to take you, and you're gonna gag over there. Like they do, all that dumb shit that they be doing. They think, oh, it's cute. Like y'all, the gays be bringing the girls up in there because y'all treat this like it's some caricature or like you want people to treat you like you a zoo animal. You do that in your own time. Go down to the Bronx Zoo, have them put you in a cage, and you act the fool. But y'all bring these girls to these spaces, and then when you want to go off and carry, you leave them at the bar. And it's like, why would you even do that? The problem, gay males, they came will want to partake of that play area. Yep. Like you bring these girls and to gawk at us, and then you go and leave them at the bar while you go in the back room and the girls is bored. So now they're gonna go back there and be like, where my friend at? Getting double railed. I don't mind women having bachelorette parties, but that's coming from someone that's never entered a homosexual bar. I just love the friendships I have with women, so they're always welcome to me. Look, like we said, we don't have a problem with them coming and being welcome. It's just y'all have to understand etiquette, gay bar etiquette. And when y'all coming in our space, you have to realize you are the minority, you are a guest, and you're coming in a place that is foreign to you, and you were invited by your friends or whatever the case is, or if y'all want to have a bachelorette party, it's cute. But there's sometimes I'll be acting out of order. Y'all want to jump on stage while the drag queen is doing a number, and you better hope and pray you don't get a queen that can read your ass like Bianca Del Rio. Because if that happens, you gonna wish like hell you'd have never stepped foot in that establishment. Because I've seen that happen too. The girls be carrying, they get read down. It's like don't overstep your boundaries. All right. But anyway, so we are officially at the end of our show. I want to thank you all for tuning in to the latest episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. One more again, if you can hit that like button, subscribe, smash the notification, do all the things, hype it up, help this channel, blow up. We almost a couple of subscriptions away from 4K. So we trying to hit that number. Hopefully, by the end of this month or August, whatever. But yeah, I only got a couple of subscriptions left. So so hit that subscribe and all that other stuff. Definitely help this show out. Hold on. Lanier says I had a former supervisor that said she wanted to go there. I told her she better not, and that if she ever showed up, I would make it more than obvious that I told you not, and we are off the clock. What, you was gonna cuss out? Hmm. Exactly. That's why those phases, because I feel like we could go out, we could really be our authentic selves. That was one thing I loved about back in the day when it was like I would work my job, and then right after that, I was meeting with my friends. Where you at? Meet us down in the village after work, and I would go meet my friends out at the bar, or I would go to. It was always like every Friday. We would always, when Splash was around, we would just go to Splash. I'll meet my friends, or if it was a Wednesday, my friend was like, "Okay, let's meet up," and we go to Splash on Wednesday. That's when Big Kim had a show and was performing and stuff, and we had, child, I would never go to a lesbian bar. I would not. Mm-mm. It's funny because I was watching this video about Fire Island, and Susan Morbido was like, she related more with the gay men than lesbians, because she said the one thing about her as a DJ, she liked those long form songs. With lesbians, they like jukebox type shit, like, oh, you got to play the latest pop song. And she was like, no, that's why she thrived in a lot of the clubs, be it, a lot of the clubs in New York or in the city, and then on the weekend she would go DJ in Fire Island and stuff. So yeah, nothing wrong inviting them. It's just certain bars, clubs are no, absolutely, and people need to learn that. But with people, just it's like the gays be just as worse. Like if you want your girlfriends to know etiquette, sometimes you got to teach them that too. Because if you don't, trust and believe, somebody who's pissed off in the establishment that those girls are being nuisances at will remind you hoes where y'all are at and to have some damn manners. So anyway, love you all for watching. Thank you for your continued support. I'll be back on Wednesday because tomorrow I am doing the first Bon Jovi show, so I won't be on. But I'll be back on Wednesday. So yeah, love you all for watching. And until next time, ciao, darlings.